Would you like to go from making 10K per month to a 30K a month or 50K per month and scaling past $500,000 every single month? If that's you, then please pay attention to this video. Last week, I spent 5 days with over 500 members who were joining me in the Growth Creator Challenge, where I essentially shared the path that I had to go from being overwhelmed at 30K per month running my appointment setting agency to being able to take home over $250,000 in profit in a single month. And the thing that I explained was that I had to actually change my offer. I had to introduce more leverage in my offer, more leverage by building an audience, more leverage in my client acquisition infrastructure, and more leverage in my fulfillment. In today's video, I wanted to take the day 5 of the challenge, which was kind of like a summary. And at the end of this video, if you guys stay till the end, you guys are actually going to get the whole thing. And I want you guys to please pay attention to today's video, because if you guys keep consuming the same content you guys get on YouTube of people telling you how to make 20K per month or 10K per month, then you guys are just getting the same information as most of society. And in business, the people who end up scaling and getting like results that are so impressive, they need to be one step ahead of most everyone. Okay, this is why my content is rarely about how to make 10K per month, because if you learn how to make 10K per month, then you're just going to be competing with everyone. And if you're running a business today, if you're doing outreach, if you're running ads, if you're trying to close deals, then you know that we're currently dealing with an issue of competition. The market has completely changed, and until you change, you're just going to be ran out of business. There is a race to the bottom being happening right now. So if you want to change your business, if you want more leverage, then watch this video and just stay till the end. You guys are going to get a pretty interesting offer. And if you want access to the 170-page doc, as well as the 13 hours that I spent breaking down every single model that I had to kind of like go through to scale from 30K a month to 600K a month, then just click the link below and you guys are going to be able to access the 170 pages as well as the 13 hours of content. And yeah, a lot of people enjoyed it, so I thought I would share it with you guys for free. And if you guys want the full 5 days, just join the community. Bye-bye. The point of the past 5 days was really for me to share something that I noticed when for those who don't know, I also started my business online, just, went through the courses, went through the agency accelerators, went through the consulting accelerators, went through all the e-commerce opportunities, went into drop shipping, all that good stuff. But, nothing really worked out for me until I went into the service business space, which was advertising, appointment setting. And my first breakthrough was starting an appointment setting agency. 2021 was my first 10K a month. It did take me a pretty long time to hit 10K per month. And I do understand the people who are struggling to get there, because it's super hard, because it's more of it's not that it's hard, it's just that you haven't felt it yet, you haven't experienced it, you haven't experienced the amount of volume required for you to go from a normal person who was getting paid a specific salary to creating so as an example, in order for you to go from just getting compensated at a job, for me, I was working a job, and then to being able to scale your own business, you need to realize that the effort required to go from that to a business owner who's making 6 figures a year, it's almost like you have to work like 3 people. But since most people don't really understand that concept of volume, they try to go at it like step by step and don't really do the volume required. For me, in order for me to get to 10K a month, I had to remove myself from appointment setting. I had to remove myself from a lot of the lead sourcing, a lot of the tedious stuff that need to be done. And that's how I was able to hit my first 10K a month. Okay. This was Q1 of 2021. In that same quarter, I did go to 30K per month. And Q4 of 2022, so like 20 months or so after, I got to scale to 600K per month, over $500,000 in cash collected in less than 30 days. And life has changed, but I'm still in front of a computer. It's just that the view has changed, but the grind is still the same. And I've seen a lot of people who are sold, hey, you just need more appointments, you just need more of this. And I promise you that when I was here in the basement, appointment setting was not my issue, right? So over the last 5 days, I've spent the last few days explaining the importance of acquiring leverage, okay? And we also have some clients that are going to be kind of like talking today. We have Oliver, who also went from, making 30K a month in July to crossing $77,000 a month in September. So 2 months later. We have Steve, who's part of the hundreds, is actually a partner. You know, hit 50K a month with a 10K offer. We have Alex Pivinsky in the coaching and consulting space, closing 5 figures offers, right? 15K offers here within the coaching and consulting space, when some people can't even get appointments in the coaching and consulting space. We have SaaS clients who are killing it. I think Dan is going to be here today. He's going to share some insights. Closing, 60K, 64K deals, 11K deals in the SaaS industry, 12K plus 15%. And, same thing in e-com, right? And of course, we have a lot more wins for you guys who have access to the doc. You guys can go through here, just see all the wins here. It doesn't stop. And one of the things that I realized was that in order for me to go from where I was, I had figured out how to make money online. Like, that wasn't necessarily my bottleneck. But the issue that I had was that I didn't have enough leverage within my business. Okay. And for those who weren't there, I'm going to kind of like try to explain what leverage is. Leverage is essentially the one thing where even if you keep putting in the same inputs, with leverage, the same effort, the same amount of energy and money and time invested into something is magnified to create infinitely greater results. Okay. So when I was making 10K per month, the issue wasn't necessarily that I had had less time, or I could do less outreach, or had less money. Yes, I did have less money, but the issue was, even with the time I had minimal leverage, which is why if I kept doing the same thing I was doing, I would have never have been able to scale. So if you're stuck, not able to scale, it's most likely due to a lack of leverage. The next level you want to scale to requires you to access more leverage. It doesn't necessarily require you to do more things. Of course, you need to do more. But before you try to do more, you need to make sure that you have the most amount of leverage. Okay. So I'm going to kind of like go over the worksheet shortly, but you need to figure out a way to access more levers, things like your offer, an audience, a better leveraged acquisition, and a more leveraged fulfillment. So for me, the reason why I went from 30K a month to 500K a month, a year later, in 20 months later, is because I took the same insights, but I multiplied it, I magnified the same efforts and insights with more leverage. And that's how I was able to go from where I was before, working super hard, right? I was working 60 hours per week, to 20 hours per week when I made the $500,000 a month. I was still able to increase, the revenue by 2,000%, working what, like 1/3 of the time, right? And for those who don't understand or leverage, it's used to describe an arrangement where input effort is magnified by a certain time so as to produce higher output force to lift the load. Okay. So everyone here has the same amount of time, but some of us earn more than others, not necessarily because we put into some more, but because we have a lever and a fulcrum that allows us to get more out of the same time. Okay. It doesn't matter how hard you row, it matters which boat you get in. But it's not even about the boat, it's about the leverage that's in your boat. Okay. If you desire to scale, you will need the following, right? You will need a leveraged offer. Okay. Why is that important? Because right now we are in a new world. Everyone is becoming a business owner. Everyone is doing the same thing that you're doing. So you cannot just remain someone who just solves things like, oh, I'm gonna run ads for you, I'm gonna book appointments for you, or I'm gonna do CRO for you, or I'm gonna do all these little commoditized services. There is no way you will end up being free. Okay. It is impossible for you to be free if you keep selling those commoditized services. And I explained that this flywheel a few days ago. I'm going to try to use the actual presentation so that it's a lot clearer for you guys. if we go on the Lucid chart, so if you guys keep selling the same thing, that these commoditized services, and by commoditized I just mean that you just sell one service, right? Paid ads is a commodity. Building website is a commodity. Doing appointment setting through cold email is a commodity. And what commodity means is essentially there is so much supply that the thing becomes like that the price is driven back down to the least amount of profits. So for those who don't understand what commodity means, is essentially when there's only one person who can run ads, then the supply is much lower than the demand, which leads to someone being able to ask more for their skill. Okay. But when Iman Gadzi and all the info guru, whatever space, start creating more educated people who want to do the same thing as you, what that leads to is it leads to the supply being greater than the demand. Well, what happens then is now the customer makes the choice on price. Okay. And the price will be as low to make sense of the service provider, okay, making enough to live, but not to be profitable, right? This is what people call the race to the bottom. When competition is actually not good. Competition is only good for the consumer, for the customer. But for the business owner, it's the worst thing that you can be trying to do. So for those who are selling these commoditized offers or services like Facebook ad, appointment setting, cold email, short form content, well, your price is being driven back down to the least amount possible because it can be offered by a lot of people. That leads to you charging low ticket, not having enough money to be able to afford talent. Well, if you can't afford talent, how exactly do you expect you to get your clients' results? You're not going to be able to get them results as good as someone who has insane level of talent. Okay. So this is the flywheel. This is what I was in 2021. I was making 30K a month. I have clients who also make 50K a month or more pushing commoditized services, right? But you never make enough for you to be able to be free, or enough for you to be able to retain your clients, because you don't have the talent required for you to experience the best of the best. Okay. Now, how do you build an offer that is leveraged? You need to build a build and released offer, an offer that is specialized, where you deliver every solution that your clients need to bridge the gap from where they are to where they need to be. Okay. When you do that, this allows you to have pricing power. Okay. Because you're essentially delivering all the mechanism that the client will need for just 15 grand as an example. Okay. You're delivering infinitely more value for the price of one of the mechanism as an example. Okay. Let's go back to here. For those who weren't there Monday, it's good. It was a 2-hour training, so I think you guys are going to need to check that out if you missed it. Anyway, so with the build and release offer, you become a growth creator. A growth creator is essentially someone who's not commoditized, and you have a higher ticket offer, okay? And you charge more money. The money you acquire on the front end allows you to be profitable enough to afford talent, and then the talent removes you from having to do anything. And then when you have super amazing people who are knowledgeable at their craft, better than you, then you get your clients better results faster than anybody else in the marketplace. And that allows you to retain them like crazy. Just to give you guys a quick some context around the retention of the build and release, the retention, how easy it is to retain people once you have offered them the build and release model. I want to show you guys the flywheel that Gym Launch used. So Gym Launch ended up scaling to like $1.6 million in MRR. not necessarily on the front end. That was like their back end revenue. And it's because on the front end, they had a almost technically a build and release offer, right? They would solve every single pain that gyms would have, and they would charge a lot more money than anybody else in their industry. They would charge, I think, like 7 times what others would charge. And that allowed them to get insane levels of talent, get the clients better results. In like, I think in like 2 weeks, if you worked with Gym Launch, you would literally make your money back. 2 weeks, maybe even 1 week. And what has ended up happening is they created some of the best clients for their business, and they just retained them on an offer that was super leveraged, right? So their backend offer was just simply just insights. They were just selling information, and they had 500 people paying them 3.2K a month at $1.6 million in MRR, and they had less than 1% churn. So for you guys who are trying to sell like a commoditized service on the front end, what you don't understand is by giving the least to your clients on the front end, you're actually not creating the best ascension for yourself. You need to be giving them the most upfront so you can make them rich, and then they can make sense of to keep paying you. Okay? So that's something that I had to understand, because until I did that, I was just stuck. I couldn't understand how I would retain, because every client that I had would churn after 1 month or 2 months. And funny enough, one of the things that I observed when I launched the build and release offer, prospects went from complaining to paying me $1,500 a month to gladly paying $8,000, $10,000, $15,000 upfront, which was super. Like, I couldn't understand. I had clients from like from all over the world, from third world countries, right? A lot of people are like, oh, you know, they're from third world country, they can't make sense of paying 10 grand. I had like so many clients from all over the world, from India, paying me 10 grand, that I was like, what's going on, right? And the reason they could make sense of paying me 10 grand is because I gave them an offer that seemed almost impossible for them not to see success. And that was the build and release. I would build and release everything faster than anybody else in their industry. Okay. And that's how it makes sense to scale. And I had someone ask me like, hey, how can someone make sense of going from 1.5K pricing to 10K offer? Well, this is something that everyone here needs to understand. People are not buying your process, right? People are just buying results. They could care less. They could care less about how you're going to make them money. They could care less about waiting 6 months to get it. If you can tell someone, hey, you want to get to 100K a month, or you want to add an extra 50K per month, in 2 weeks, I will build and release the infrastructure you need to get there. I'll build your offer, build your acquisition team, your ads, your appointment setting team, cold email. You decide what mechanism you want to put in your offer. And then just tell them that, hey, instead of me trying to charge you like an agency and put you in a commitment of 6 months, 12 months, how about I deliver it in the next 4 weeks? Would you prefer that? Anybody would prefer that. So what that ends up saying is, selling your offer with a defined end and a much shorter time frame allows you to 2x to 5x your price, because your prospect is the most excited and willing to experience the outcome. So I went from saying, hey, I'll book you 15, 20 calls a month for 1,500, to being like, hey, what if I built you the infrastructure you need to book 10 calls a week and add an extra 25K to 50K per month? And people would look at that versus the 1,500 positioning for appointments, and they'd be like, fuck yes. And 90 days after launching this offer, I hit my first 100K a month with 76% margins, which was ridiculous. And I probably had a team of like maybe less than like 10 people. Maybe we were like 8 people in the company, 1 closer. Anyway, I'm going to showcase the team size. But the reason why people were still gladly offering me the 10K instead of going around and shopping is because no one else could replicate my offer. Because even most agencies who have bigger teams, they couldn't make sense of delivering this much value for this cheap. Because at the end of the day, 10K to have an offer, an appointment setting team, outbound campaign built for you, systems built for you for just 10K, it's still relatively pretty cheap, right? I have people out there. I think Cole Gordon is selling like a setter or setters for like 18K, which is ridiculous. So that means that even at 10K, I was still undercharging, right? But that made me less of a commodity, and it allowed me to just charge. I just had no competition. And I think till this day, it's pretty hard to pull off the build and release offer, which means that most people will never actually offer it. So premium pricing, this is what you're never going to get this much profit from an agency, right? And by the way, here we were still serving like maybe 15 to 20 clients a month. So that's a lot of volume of work, but we're still having like crazy profits. Okay. So it allowed me to stop selling. I stopped doing onboarding. I stopped consulting clients. I stopped building systems. I just use the money to go and pay people to do it. People who are better at selling, onboarding, consulting, building systems than me. And then the next thing is superstar talents, right? When you hire people who are better than you, your offer ends up being better than what you created in the first place. Okay. Why? Because the person who's selling can now create, I mean, I'm going to go over operations leverage, but I can talk about it right now. When you hire people like this, they all have specific insights, and these specific insights can be used to improve your offer. Okay. So if you just come in and you're just someone who takes care of appointment setting, but then you build a build and release offer and you start charging 15 grand, well, you can take some of that money and go pay some of your team members to become growth consultants or consultants and build products in your company that are used to help your clients even more. So this allowed me to get my clients better results, more case studies, and a higher closing rate. And we achieved a 40% closing rate on a 10K offer months in a row. Okay. On day one, I shared how I shared Gym Launch's offer, SaaS build and release offer, coaches and consultants offer. You guys can check them out here. For those who weren't here, I think it's day one. Anyway, like, yeah, here I released a bunch of the offers, so you guys can check them out. So everyone here, if you want to actually start making real money without necessarily working harder, this is something you need. Forget selling commoditized services. Like, for the love of God, please do not sell commodity services. There's no money being made there. And the longer you stay there, the harder you guys are going to notice it. And just to give you guys some quick context, I'm sure you guys have seen this trend where a lot of people just go out of business. Okay. You have two options. You will either run yourself out of business, or the market will run you out of business. Something that most people don't understand is how markets work. The market is meant to evolve. And if you're not evolving, you will be forced out of the game. Okay? You will be forced out of the game. I can promise you that. Everybody who's just offering appointment setting, like cold email stuff, like, are you serious? You're literally one AI away from going to, like, from being like, oh, I charge 2K a month, 2.5K a month, to literally going back down to not being even worth nothing. Okay. So it's super, super scary. As technology advances, you're going to need to be good. Okay. You're going to need to be better than you ever thought you needed to be. Now, one of the things that technology will not change is the fact that the new wealth being created is created by people with brands. Okay. So let's talk about audience leverage. How I accidentally made $1 million in 90 days. So in 2022, from the fourth quarter, actually, quarter four, I did over $1 million in cash collected. And at first I was like, oh, maybe it's the acquisition stuff. Maybe we booked a lot more calls. Maybe we had more setters, but not really. I had spent $7,000 in 3 months on ads, right? I had 3 growth specialists. Now, how was it possible to spend 7K on ads and 3 appointment setters to generate $1 million in 90 days? Well, it doesn't make any sense, and it shouldn't be something you guys try to do, right? And that's something I understood. The reason why I was able to pull this off is because of this new form of leverage. And I'm going to show you guys the form of leverage. What ended up happening was the following. I ended up studying a lot of the people who are scaling companies today and kind of like what they're doing. And I realized that, you know, something that never really made sense to me is like, why would Hormozi get out of a business that's making him $4 million a month, right? Well, it's because he realized that Kylie Jenner just became a billionaire, right? And he realized that there is a bigger game to play than just being good at business. He needed a bigger leverage. He needed something that was greater than just having great acquisition skills, fulfillment skills, or even having a small Facebook group. He realized that he literally needed to become an influencer, right? So he stopped whatever he was doing, went into a more leveraged vehicle, which was private equity, and went crazy on content. And in timeline of 2 years, he literally went from 4 mil, 40 mil a year, 30 mil a year, to building a $200 million portfolio of companies where he probably owns like 30% of each of all this thing, right? And all it was required for him to do is get the newest form of leverage, which is most people here purely rely on, oh, I'm gonna just have a great offer. I'm gonna just be good at acquisition and I'm gonna be good at fulfillment. And then I'm gonna go sell people. Yeah, right. You don't understand how competition works. Even though I'm telling you guys to become good at these, I'm actually thinking that this is going to be the biggest lever that you guys can pull. And this is going to be the hardest thing for people to compete to you on. Because people buy from people they like. They don't buy from people who have the best offers or the best like lead gen and acquisition stuff. Okay. So the new lever is audience and products with zero marginal cost of replication. Private equity has almost zero marginal cost of replication because the same thing that Hormozi is giving out in his piece of content, he just goes and gives the advice to his clients and they just implement it and they make a few millions of dollars a month and he gets a piece of that for just having given the advice or maybe having had helped the business acquire more talent. Same thing. If you look at Iman went from you know, broke kid to gaining some marketing skills. You know, he went through all the courses like we all went through, you know, Sam Ovens, all that good stuff. And then he built a 100K a month agency. But then he said, you know what? Fuck this. I don't want 100K a month. Then he went hard on building an audience. Today, he has 3 million subs. And I think it's going to probably make like 50 mil in the next like 2 years or 50 mil a year effortlessly, right? Now he's doing multiple 8 figures. And the only thing that changed from here to here is genuinely his audience and the leveraged offer. He's selling courses in SaaS today. Okay. If you look at The Rock went from being just a wrestler, a great actor, which got him to earn tens of millions of dollars a year, a net worth of $300 million after 20 years of work. And he starts leveraging, going crazy with his brand, starts brands, okay, like Terramania, and is now worth $1 billion. Timeline, 2 years, which is insane. Like, how do you go from working 20 years to only be worth 300 M's to 2 years later, in 2 years, being worth $1 billion? The only way you can do that is if you just stop relying on just being a great actor, a great wrestler, a great entertainer, and you just focus on growing the brand. He's on Instagram more than, like, guys, like, this is something that a lot of people don't notice. You guys just see people on Instagram just making memes and things like that, but you guys don't see the underlying reasons why they're doing it. You guys need to question yourself. Why would someone who is, I think The Rock is probably in his 50s, why would a 50-year-old who's worth 300 million be on Instagram? Because that's a 9-figure skill. Okay. Same thing for Conor McGregor. Went from being a great fighter, earning 25 mil in UFC, to going crazy with his audience. And then he built Proper Whiskey. Now he's building more brands. And he went from 25 mil in his whole career to earning $100 million in 2021 from selling a piece of this brand or from exiting this brand, and then to also getting paid $30 million for one fight with Floyd Mayweather. All because he accessed a different type of leverage. Kim K went from selling e-commerce stuff online, don't know how much she was making, to building one of the craziest audience online, and every brand she creates is now worth billions. She just recently started Skims, which was founded in 2019 and is now today worth $4 billion. And I shared this number just to put into context. Lululemon took them like 13 years to make $700 million a year. Skims did that in 3 years, and that's because she has a bigger lever than them, right? Well, not them. Now they're bigger, but yeah. Anyway, same thing for me. I went from being a great appointment setter, great, I know a few things about growing, to 30K a month, and that was like hustling. And when I say hustling, I mean I was hustling, to building an audience on YouTube and a leveraged offer, and got to 600K a month like the year after, right? This only could happen because I realized that there was a bigger game happening. The bigger game was, let's not just be great at acquisition and building companies, but let's also look at the importance of building an audience. And that's the only way you get to pull this off. If you want to make 30K a month, 30K by before you wake up, you're going to need an audience. Okay. So that's the second thing. For me, that was just understanding that I needed leverage on my audience. And the next thing, and by the way, just Naval said this before, code and media are permissionless leverage. Permissionless just means that you don't have to, no one has to give it to you. Hiring people need to want to work with you, and getting capital, you need to get someone else's capital, right? And he said that there's the leverage behind the newly rich. You can create a software or media that works for you while you sleep. And yeah, this insight took me from, making my first 10K a month to 2022, just generating like hundreds of thousands of dollars on a weekly basis, right? And having over $1 million in my checking account. And this is the same way that, companies online, tech companies got really wealthy. They figured out a way to get as many users as possible. And, Google is worth over $1.6 trillion. Apple is worth $2.9 trillion. The second wave of companies that did the same thing are social media apps. You can think of Facebook, TikTok. Facebook is worth 700 billion. So it's almost like everyone who focused on building an audience and acquiring users creates inevitable success. And now the third wave is personal brands. The same thing personal brands are doing is the same thing that made billions and trillions of dollars worth of value for social media companies and platform like Apple and Google. And then the next thing is infinite returns. What ends up happening when you have an audience is the following. You build something attractive, super valuable, you give it away for free, you acquire users, and then the users start using that same thing or start embarking on the journey of using that thing, that asset that you created. And then they start sharing it. When they start sharing it, it acquires you new users. And you get into this flywheel where users start using your thing, they acquire you even more users, and then you just focus on solving future problems. But the beautiful thing here is that you're not paying to acquire anyone, right? You're not paying for ads anymore. You're not doing anything. You just create something valuable and people just find it. That's where, I'm not sure if you guys have been seeing Nick Cosman, where he's like, oh, I just make content and the money flows in my hand, or like just money falls to me. Like, that's bullshit stuff. But like, a lot of people don't understand what Nick Cosman is doing right now. But what he's essentially trying to do is he's just trying to hack the algorithm. He's just trying to get some attention for free, because he realized that he could either keep spending money on ads. And by the way, Nick is probably one of the smartest guys out there, but he's not good in my opinion. I don't think he's, see, this is the thing. You can be smart, but that doesn't mean that you're actually going to be able to scale past 100 million, because just being smart is not enough to build an organization. You need to know how to manage people. You need to know how to lead people. So being smart doesn't mean shit. But essentially what he's trying to do is he's just trying to get users to share more users, and then he just monetizes people after. But what he's really trying to do is, how can I get free traffic? Okay. And when you understand this 9-figure content flywheel, you realize that you don't ever need to rely on your demand, or you don't need to rely on the demand of the marketplace. you can almost create your own clients by creating content and sharing a specific desired goal, okay? Creating the goal, creating the desire, and then bringing awareness to the obstacle that people will face. And the more people who will experience the obstacle, the more people who will look for the solution, right? And you also create content around the solution. You create more awareness. The more people who want the solution, the more people who will want the implementation. This is where you monetize, okay? So your content is really around creating awareness around the obstacle, the solution, and creating even the desire if you want to, and then just selling implementation. This is where you can literally never, like that's what Hormozi is really doing. He's creating so many smart people who will become successful, and he never needs to do any acquisition because he's already created his next client, right? So this is something that you guys need to understand. Create your own clients. Stop trying to rely on, hey, do you need more appointments? What? Come on, man. That's so basic, right? So yeah, for me, this is one thing that I like to focus on heavy. Okay. And then the next thing is leveraged acquisition infrastructure. I stopped trying to leverage things that were cost effective because that cost efficiency was actually costing me the results I wanted. And nowadays we've started going crazy with ads for all our clients, even for ourselves. And that's because I realized that why would I need to do outreach or do like cold outreach when I can get technology to get our clients results faster than anything else? We started leveraging ads, and just to give you guys some quick results from some of our clients, Felix in the solar industry got 495 leads after spending like $2,000 on ads and 249 appointments. Went from $2 in his bank account in a niche that was extremely competitive, which was the coaching and consulting space, to 20K. I think it's 25K now in 14 days. Endo, same thing, 239 appointments, 38 appointments. And these are, the timelines are like a few weeks, okay? So Liel, 65 appointments, 271 leads. And this was a few weeks. After having spent, if you guys look at here, it's $327 to book 51 calls. Farcod, 13 appointments. Baz, 92 leads, 8 appointments. So it's just been going pretty insane with ads, right? And the reason to that is because outbound has a symmetrical acquisition, right? Relationship. So meaning the effort you put in is almost as equal to the load and the revenue that you will generate, okay? Which is what I explained at the beginning. It's minimal leverage. Now, paid ads has asymmetrical, it's an asymmetrical relationship with the input and the output, where you can put a little bit of money and you can buy you can literally pull a lot more from the same money, from the same effort, than you can pull a lot more. So it's infinitely more leverage than outbound prospecting. Okay. Now we still leverage outbound, but we don't do outbound to cold prospects. We do outbound to warm people. Okay. Again, if you missed the explanation of this, I highly suggest you guys check it out. And just to show you guys the funnel that we were using, or actually before I show you guys the funnel, let me show you guys some of the numbers, just to show you guys why we just don't do cold outbound anymore. So we went from cold outreach, let's say 1,100 outreach, 114 outreach. If you guys look at here, so 10 times more outreach, 1,000 versus 100. 4 times more responses here. So 4 times more responses here, right? 1.5x more qualified leads. So here we got 1.5 qualified leads. Here we just got 10. Here we got 26. And then the number of appointments, here we booked just 11 calls. Here we booked 5. But the thing that you need to understand, because you only have so much time on this planet, is that why would you work 10 times harder only to experience 2 times more results? Right? This is literally the opposite of leverage. This is like negative leverage, because you're just working harder only to get less. Okay? Same thing happened here. 1,400 outreach, 125 outreach, only 3 times more responses, only 1.7 more qualified leads, only 2x more qualified appointments. Why would you do 11 times more outreach only to get 2x more calls booked? That's crazy, right? So instead, what we've started doing is the following. Let me show you guys the funnel. We've just generally stopped doing cold prospecting and just generally just focusing on acquisition from this funnel. Let me show you. Wait. Oh, okay. Never mind. It's here. So we just really just started relying on this funnel, which is a normal kind of like VSL funnel where you just get ads going, and you get opt-ins, you get VSLs, and you get call to action to book a call. And we just generally don't even care about this funnel. All we care about is the following. It's what happens after. Because what happens after someone opts in is what makes the funnel actually profitable. Most people who do this funnel will not be profitable. I can promise you that. Okay, you will lose so much money. You will start having calls that cost $200, $500, even $1,000. Okay, so for us, what we started doing is just relying on, as soon as someone opts in, a growth specialist will reach out, send them an SMS. Some people do cold outbound dialing. Let's say we get 100 opt-ins, 30 to 40% people reply. 1/3 of everyone who replies will be qualified. 80% of everyone who replied will receive a booking link, and we will book 60 to 80% of people who replied. That maintains our cost to book a call around, $80 to $150, which is a lot more sustainable than just trying to wait for people to book opt-in and then book a call. So if you guys understand this, you guys understand that, like, hey, for every $5 to $10 you spend, you get someone who you can have a conversation with, someone who's already kind of like warm and who showed interest, right? But when you do cold outbound, that's where you end up with 2,000 outreach only to get a few like 1% of people interested. Okay, so stop doing this. And then also what we do is we also set up cold email sequences, 12 email sequences, and we leverage the Facebook group to convert over time more out of this list of opt-ins. So eventually over time, we actually end up converting more people, right? And this has just kind of like changed the game for us. Just super, super, super profitable. If you guys are not leveraging this, then you guys need to get on it. The next thing is the unit economics of a build and release offer. One of the biggest thing that most people are afraid of is like, oh, but what if I don't have money for ads? Well, to be honest, even if you don't have money for ads, I still think you should find the money for ads, right? Because once you have a build and release offer, you are paid to acquire clients. What I mean by that is you never need to pay for acquiring clients. Your clients pay for themselves to be acquired. How does that make sense? Well, if you guys have ever heard Hormozi say, but he talks about client finance acquisition, where let's say you have a $500 on your credit card, okay? And then you generate 75 leads on average at a cost per lead of $6. You get 10 to 20% to book a call, which ends up being 7 to 10, 15 calls based on our value funnel metrics. They can be higher if you're in a less competitive market like local businesses. Let's say out of this 7 to 15 calls, you have a 20% closing rate. That means that you acquired 1 to 3 clients, okay? With an average ticket price of 10K, the total revenue from, let's say if you go from 1 to 3 clients closed, that's 10 to 30K in revenue, okay? You liquidate the cost of ads, which is 5%, let's say $500. You give 5% goes to the setter. That means that you didn't have to set anything. You give 10 to 15% to a closer, which is 1.1K to 1.5K. That means that you didn't have to close. You didn't have to set. You didn't have to find the lead. You didn't have to lead source. You didn't have to pay a VA to go find some people. You just let the algorithm, the AI, find you the prospects who would be the most qualified for your ad or for your offer. Okay. Now, this is where things get exciting once you actually understand this. the profitability is crazy. Let's say on one deal, the average cost per acquisition becomes $2,000. And this is where traditional agencies, when they try to compete, this is why most traditional agencies can never run ads forever. Because if the average cost per acquisition is $2,000 and you charge 2K a month or 3K a month, even at 3K a month, this is something that most people don't understand. Even if you charge $3,000 a month and you make 2K, you have to pay 2K to acquire a client, you're left with 1K a month margins, right? But you still have to pay for your team. How exactly are you going to make any money? That's why most agencies are not profitable when they acquire a client. And they're just hopeful. They're super optimistic that they'll be profitable on the second and third month. But what have we learned about commoditized services like Facebook ad? Well, you're just offering Facebook ad. You're not offering appointment setting. You're not offering build outs for systems, for follow-ups, for like speed to lead. So that means that your clients, even if you're doing ads, they don't get the best results because there are other problems that would keep a business from experiencing the outcome that you help solve. Okay. So they do what? They churn after month 2 and month 3. So that means that even though you acquire this client, you were like, oh my God, I just have a new client. No, you didn't make any money. You acquired this person, you spent $2,000, you spent money for your team, and this person that you spent a lot of money for is not even staying to make you profitable. This is why we do not run the old model of selling retainer upfront. Okay? Forget this. This is just you're just literally running around only to stay in the same position. Okay? You guys do not want to make this mistake of pricing and creating offers where you're just getting people on a 3K a month. I'm like, it's cool if it's 3K a month and you didn't have to pay to acquire them. But if you know that you're going to need to do outbound, you're going to need to do outreach, you're going to need to spend money to acquire that client, then there is no way you're going to scale. Okay? But when you have a build and release offer where the lifetime value minimum is 10K on the front end, like literally the agreement is, hey, to work with us, it's a minimum of 10 grand to 15 grand. Do you agree with that? Perfect. Spend it over 2 months if you want to break it off, if you can't pay the whole thing. But the beautiful thing is when you clarify that, hey, this is a build and release, you're going to need to pay 15 grand for this or more, then you become super profitable. So that means that even with an average CPA of 2K, you have $8,000 left. Let's say you spend 2.5 to 3K to fulfill the thing you sold for 10K. You still have $5,000 profit per deal. Now, would you guys find $500 if it could generate you an extra 5,000 to 15,000 every single time without you having to do anything because you actually have enough money to afford to make other people rich, your team, your closers, your setters, and everyone else, right? And how long would you keep finding the $500 to spend money on? As long as money exists, literally, right? So this is how Felix was able to go from $2 left in his bank account to literally 25K cash, okay? To now, he's saying that like, you know, so like money is not the main problem. When I don't know what date this was, but like 3 weeks before, he had $2 in the bank account. Like, you can't fake this. Like, you can't make this up. How does someone go from having $2 to a month later saying cash is not the problem, time is the problem, and now they need systems, right? Like, this is the type of problem you guys want. You stop studying, like, and you know, congrats to Felix and Jolie for even making sense of joining, to be honest. Like, I wouldn't have made sense of joining at $2. Like that's crazy. Like, it takes courage. So shout out to them. Now let's go over fulfillment real quick. Leverage fulfillment. In order for you guys to deliver on $500,000 a month, you guys need leveraged operations. Okay. You need a leveraged talent, meaning your team needs to be leveraged. You need systems, you need data, and you need unique insights. I kind of like explained it yesterday where I went over the importance of having your team leveraged. The traditional, and I'm gonna try to find it right now because this was super, super important. If you want to make 100K to 500K a month, most of your superstars will need to be leveraged, right? And here I explained the example of how, let's say a media buyer who's, well, let's say right now we have a media buyer, you know, who has a lot of experience, has spent $60,000 a day on ads. And scenario number one is we get him to just do things like setting up accounts, finding audiences, getting up the ads manager running, you know, getting the creatives, running the ads and optimizing it. Well, even though his job is leveraged, he's still having to put in time to get clients' results. Okay. So that means that the amount of leverage is still pretty low because he's still his outcomes are still related to time spent. So what we need to do is we actually need to turn every single talent in our team to be leveraged. So we get them to change from done for you to documentation, setup, and consulting and auditing. 80% of the time should be spent creating documentation of the setting up of the accounts, figuring out the best performing audience and interest, copy placement, creatives, best actions for optimization and troubleshooting. 10% should be the setup, 10% should be auditing and consulting, right? Now, the same person who could only maybe handle 10 clients a month now is able to handle 100 times more clients, right? Because now the delivery of his insights are leveraged. It's just the media, right? Or code or systems. Okay. Now you guys need to do the same thing for everyone on your team. The only way you're able to scale is if you don't have to sell your time and the time of your team. Okay. So you're going to need to find people that are expensive. Okay. You're going to need to build systems. You're going to need to build all the documentations. I shared here the systems that you guys need, like, you know, things like you guys need to document everything here, right? Opt-in workflows. You guys are going to need pipeline workflows. You guys are going to need appointment setting systems. You guys are going to need to track everything from cold book, you know, all the workflows. You guys are going to need sales trackers. You guys are going to need everything that needs to happen to be systematized. You guys cannot just walk around thinking that you're going to do one thing when it happens time and time again. No, you need to build it so it happens once. Okay. Cool. So, and then yesterday I also explained the new kind of like value ladder, right? So traditionally, the agency model is you get someone on the front end with you know, less value, meaning you maybe offer them one service and then you try to upsell them to other services. But the issue with this is the more you upsell people, the more time you sell, right? And what did I just say about time selling? Selling your time, even if it's your team's time, is not scalable, right? So instead, what we want to do, we want to use this growth creator value ladder, where the more things we sell, the less time we sell. Let me repeat this. And actually, this is something I didn't say yesterday. This is something that just come to my mind to try to explain this. You need your offerings to be less time consuming as your clients become more valuable. Okay? Let me try to explain. On the front end, you start with a free thing or a self-liquidating offer, which is maybe like a $30 product or a $30 course or a $30 book, right? Or $49, it doesn't matter. You get leads from here. You give them something so good. Essentially, think of it as creating a Facebook, creating Google, creating Google search, creating AI for giving the solutions that your market needs to scale. You do it for free or you add this really low ticket price. What this will do is it will acquire you the people, the goodwill that will need your build and release offer. On the build and release offer, it's high, like it's labor intensive. It needs people, super talented people who can come into the company, look at the business offer, look at the business model, look at their pricing model, look at their segment that they're going after, look at all these things, look at how they fulfill, change everything up, build up everything that they need. And then you want to go to a subscription model, right? Where you're charging $100 to 3K per month. A subscription is more leveraged than the build and release model, but you're still selling them. You can charge up to 2K per month, 3K per month, because you've anchored them to a 10 to 15 to 20K to 30K, 50K offer on the front end. So if they go from paying 20K here to paying 3K a month, it's super easy to sell. And then once you find the best people here, the best clients, you just offer them partnerships. What this means is you're like, hey, would you like me and my team to actually come in and maybe help you on a more consistent basis? And this is what Hormozi did. He realized that, hey, instead of me selling information and programs, why don't I just own and just give the advice, but for equity instead, right? So now he gets paid for all the advice that he gives to the portfolio of companies that he owns. And this is more leverage. This is infinitely more leverage than anything here, because it requires probably less time. I mean, he spends 6 hours a day writing a book. Like guys, he spends all his time just writing books. You will never get that much. He makes more money than all of us combined, and he spends 6 hours writing a book. Does that make any sense? That means that the game we're playing is completely false. Most people don't understand what they're doing. They think that, oh, I'm gonna just keep acquiring clients. I'm gonna keep acquiring clients. No, you need to be super smart around your business model. Because if you don't, then you will end up working so hard, 10 years, 20 years. Yes, you made money. Yes, you got rich, but you just created a prison for yourself. You need to outsmart the game. And it's not about working hard. It's about playing the right model. Okay. And that's how Gymlaunch was able to get people on a build and release offer, give them significantly a lot more value. And by the way, this wasn't a build and release model. They were just kind of like offering coaching, but it's just that they had systems for every single problem that they were facing. And then everyone who was here, they literally just retained them on a subscription, and they would make them sign a 12-month, 3-month contract where these companies would pay 3.2K per month, and they would just get some research, right? And then just kind of like a quick thing that I mentioned yesterday was, you need to deliver the infrastructure on the front end in your build and release offer, and then you need to retain them on unique insights. What does that mean? When you get people a lot of results, they start experiencing more problems. But these problems are not solved anymore with build and release or done for you services. Instead, I mean, you can still have services for sure, but the way that you make it scalable is by offering just insights on how to structure something better, on how to build the bigger teams. And that's what this Gymlaunch did. They were just spending 50K to 100K per month. They would acquire a lot of data on what the best performing ads were, and they would just give it back down to their community for just 3.2K a month. So they spent $100,000 to acquire unique insights, and they just had 500 to 1,000 people pay them 3.2K a month, and they would just sell those insights 1,000 times over. Selling insights is the most leveraged delivery for service providers. So everyone here need to get as fast as possible on this second layer of their business, right? And the beautiful thing is that selling insights has a flywheel in and of itself, because the more you acquire clients, the more infrastructure you build, the more you acquire data, and the more data you acquire, the more unique insights you acquire. And the more insights you acquire, the easier it is to close clients, because you can go back to them and be like, hey, I've built this infrastructure for 100 clients, and I've seen everything that works, and I've seen everything that doesn't work. So when you buy from me, instead of buying from that agency or from that coach, when you buy from me, you acquire the data, the insights that will avoid you from having to go through failure, right? And it just keeps on turning. It keeps on turning. And the longer you can let it turn. As an example, today, we have so much data around what works that when, I get a lot of people are like, hey, Serge, do you work with beginners? And I'm like, I mean, I could work with beginners, yes, because I can just give you an offer and you can just scale it to like 30K, 50K a month in like 60 days. But I choose not to work with beginners, not necessarily because I can't make them money, but because they're not ready for the money yet, right? They probably have bad habits. They probably don't sleep enough. They probably just are on social media, just like their dopamine system is fried. So the reason why, for those who are here, who are beginners and who want to work with us, the reason why I don't want to work with you guys is not because you are my team cannot give you an offer to scale to 100K a month. That's not the reason. The reason is not, you're not the person yet who deserves that success. So no matter, so it's like me trying to go, like if I try to go in solar, I'll probably build a 100K a month business in the next 90 days. If I try to go in the coaching and consulting space, I would get 100K a month in 90 days. If I try to go into SaaS, I'll probably get to 100K a month in 90 days. Why? Because I have the data on how to do it. I have the undeniable insights on how to get there, right? But this only comes from you having a lot of clients that you've built infrastructures for, where you have a lot of data from these infrastructures. Okay. So I want to kind of like stop here. Guys, for those who weren't there on the last 5 days, I don't know how you're going to do it. Get access to the last 5 days. Okay. It has been a super, I think in the last 5 days, I can't wait to get more people to go through this, because it's going to be super, super crazy, right? To when I get enough people to watch this, I can't wait to see what happens. But we're about to go into the client interviews. Okay, so we're going to try to keep this short, but what I'd like to do for clients who are going to be speaking is really keep it simple. And I just want you guys to share some of the most important insights that you guys got. Because this is the thing. Even though I can give someone the insights and the knowledge and the frameworks and the proof, it needs to be spoken out of someone's current place for them to really have the mindset and belief shifting moments. Okay. So I'm going to invite just one client at a time. And for more client, if you are a client who is going to be speaking today, please add your camera, okay, so that I can kind of like just see everyone. Because if you have a screen and I can't see you, then that means that I'm going to have to like scroll and not even notice that you're here. Okay. So Dan, I think it would be good to kind of like have you first and just jump on and just share your experience. For you, what I really love for you to talk about is kind of like before you started pushing the current offer you have versus today. Okay. Let me unmute you. And then just give people just kind of like a background of what you were trying to do and how long you've been in this space too. Like what were you up to before?
Sure. So yeah, I've been in the space, I think about 2.5 years, 3 years. And before this, kind of pushing an offer around e-learning businesses and info products. And also just going about it based on the way you explained today, this commoditized route where we're looking at, doing a service like Facebook ads, something like that. And like that works for sure as like an offer. Like we know that it can scale companies, but most people were doing that at the same time, right? So there's nothing really to stand out when actually delivering that. So for me, one of the interesting things was implementing the build and release. And I think the other thing that Serge doesn't talk about as much is like he's actually doing this as well, like with like his clients as well. So it's kind of this interesting thing of we implemented the build and release and saw an immediate pickup in people being interested in what we were doing, right? So not just doing one part of it, but basically bridging the entire gap. And so the problem that we ran into with the clients that we did have at the time were, you run Facebook ads and there's other problems, there's other things that come up. And so when you're offering just one service, you don't actually make the clients happy. That's the other thing that we realized. So having the build and release and being able to position that in this sort of 360 approach was really valuable. And then immediately, within 30 to 60 days, we saw the results of that, doing consistent outreach. And then we were able to have that market feedback. And yeah, we've been able to scale quite a bit from there.
Yeah. Do you want to kind of like compare what your pricing was before and after the build and release? Like, because yeah, share that. I'm curious.
Sure. So when we were starting out, I was like severely underpricing to the point where if you do look at cost of acquisition, and now that I'm looking more at the numbers and data, And since joining GCP, I think that's one of the key things, right? It's that you actually understand what are the numbers, because before you don't really have the systems. You don't know how many outreach generate you, how many meetings or meetings booked, or how much does it cost to acquire a client, right? Like a lot of that data I just didn't have. And I was just leveraging my own time. But once I got clarity on that, I realized like, wow, we were just losing money like crazy. I think the first iterations of the offer we were doing super low ticket, I think like 750 or like 1.5k a month retainers, and that was just unsustainable from a delivery standpoint, from an acquisition standpoint, and it basically put us at the point of like almost going out of business like in the first year or two.
Mm.
So something had to change, and then we started to charge quite a bit more for our offer before joining the program, around 4 or 5k, and that helped. But still, like looking at the math, like what you just talked about, you still can't generate that much profit to acquire a new client based on just like breaking even, right?
Yeah.
So that's when the next step was, let's just charge way more than competitors, separate our offer, and then it really starts to make a lot more sense, and you can acquire more clients pretty profitably.
Yeah. And one of the things that I did notice is that when you change your offer to a build and release offer, you, in my opinion, you acquired more clients than you acquired before at your lower ticket offer, or at lower when you were charging less. Do you want to kind of like explain that?
Sure. Yeah. So not only did we get more clients, but we also just generated a lot more interest because it's something that's fresh and there's not that many people doing it. Um, and I think the cool thing about build and release is that you can't just say, I'm selling a build and release, because no one knows what that means, right? It really depends on how you want to explain it. So I'm not really worried about telling everyone here, like, what are we doing in build and release, or that we have a build and release offer? Because even if, 100,000 people see this or whatever, you can make your own version of that offer that solves a different
Yes.
market niche. And I think that's the cool thing. It's like, yeah, there's tons of agencies in the SaaS space. I'm getting people reaching out to me on Instagram, on YouTube, and that sort of stuff, asking, what am I doing? And it's like, you can just build and release to solve the specific problem. Like, as Serge said, the market changes. If you stay the same, you're going to go out of business. So we're just looking at what are the current pain points, what's happening right now in 2023 in Q4, like, and then we'll implement those things. Our offer is being updated every couple months to stay consistent and stay relevant for clients.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's an interesting insight, because here's the beauty about build and release, and you guys will also see this. For me, our program, it's never about, or even the way we help clients, as an example, if I see that people with an audience are killing it more, then in the service, in the program, we're going to emphasize building an audience. So we build new systems. I go hire consultants, people who've done this before, and I get them to build a framework I can use to implement for my clients. That's the same way that you guys need to do it when you guys are pushing a build and release offer, right? You need to look at what are the trends in the marketplace, take that mechanism, use it within your offer, and then just get 10 times more interest, get 10 times more closes, right? So it's super easy to scale because you're not just a Facebook ad agency, right? You're whatever works today. So and just so yeah, so Dan is in the SaaS space, and because also one of the things that you also did is like you are able to hire a closer. So right now you're not necessarily closing your own deals, right? You were able to remove yourself from some of the sales process.
Yeah, 100%. I realized after, as I said, like the data is key. Like better inputs just start with understanding what are you doing, where are you putting your time. So I
Mm-hmm.
realized after looking at tons of appointments, like tens and tens of appointments booked in, some of them qualified, some of them not, from the last year before joining the program, that I wasn't closing them, right? And that was a huge problem. And so Serge, just the first day in the program, I remember he said, like, why don't you have a closer right now? And then I was like, oh yeah, that's a good point. So I just solved the right constraint. So I think that's the other thing that is really helpful, is having this outside perspective and someone else looking in at your business and saying like, oh, I've done this before. I see what the constraint is. Focus in on this, because there's so much confetti that's thrown at you, whether you're consuming content on YouTube, you're reading books, like we're always looking at things. But I think like the big thing that separates, Serge or like someone who's like Hormozy, right? If they have a conversation with you, they can locate the problem and make a better decision than you could as someone who's a beginner that doesn't know what are good numbers to shoot for, right? What are good metrics? Where should you spend the majority of your time, right? Because in the reality of things, like you shouldn't be spending your time doing a billion things. Like Serge is working less hours, right? And just focusing on the right things. So I think that's kind of the other thing focusing in on what matters.
Yeah, yeah. And I think, when you started pushing the build and release offer, you scaled past 10K per month. And actually, I think for your first month you hit 20 what, 20K, 21K. You want to kind of
Yeah,
like share the growth with this offer when you started pushing it?
sure. So we were doing roughly, 4K, 5K a month pretty consistently for maybe 5, 6 months. And then after introducing this offer, we sold a handful of them pretty quickly. So I think we got up to around 20, 22, 23K within about a month or so. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the thing um that a lot of people don't understand is that when you have an expensive thing to sell, you don't need to sell 1,000 people, right? To get to 20K a month with a traditional model, like you probably need like 10 clients. When I was making 28K a month with my appointment setting agency back in 2021, I think I had maybe like 14 clients, right? And then went from almost 4K a month, 5K a month to like 23K a month in 1 month from selling like 2, 3 clients, right? That's the thing that everyone here needs to understand. You don't need to work harder. You need to know what is the leverage thing to sell, right? So yeah, and just Dan, just to kind of like finish this convo, what would you say was the biggest insight or breakthrough that you had from just being part of the program?
Oh, that's a good question. I think actions speak louder than words. So I think the fact that you've implemented this for your team and that you've found success with it and that it has actually brought me a ton of value was the biggest insight, because I think I've gone through other courses, other mentorships, and they tell you to sell, like they're selling something else. They're telling you to build this, build that. But the
Yeah,
interesting thing is what I found value in the program is being on calls with people like Katie, Casey, Haisam, actually getting this one-on-one time where I'm being able to pick their brains and sort of understand, okay, what are they doing? But the only reason why you're able to access these people that are really, really smart and building out their own thing is because you've created an offer like this. So
mm,
similarly, for us delivering for clients, we can have better talent. And right now we're hiring really competent people. And I think it's like you're one hire away from getting like your next 6 figures, basically. Like
yeah,
I'm talking to people that are so competent, and that's really interesting to me because I'm like, wow, I can scale myself out of the business, do different things, and do higher leverage tasks. So I think that's kind of the biggest insight is like, I don't have to do everything. I don't have to manage everything. It's really about how do I place better talent and sort of position our offer in order to facilitate that type of growth,
yeah.
which is a way I
So
never approached the business before.
yeah, so would you say that, like, I guess seeing how we run things, our build and release infrastructure and our talent allowed you to kind of like get a perspective of where you need to be compared to, let's say, just telling you like, oh, start selling TikTok ads and just get leads and appointments and hire a contractor. You actually are able to see how we run our operations to the point that, because this is the thing that which Dan kind of like talked about, which is our type of service is a little different because what we're trying to get you guys to do is essentially what we're doing, which means that when you work with us, you have a copy paste of the thing you need to build for yourself, right? And I think that's infinitely more valuable than just telling you, oh, short form content is trendy. No, like that's not, it's trendy up to a point, or like these little trends. It's like you actually need to build an operations that is super, super complex and valuable to the marketplace. So yeah, that's good. But yeah, no, thanks, Dan. I think a quick story. Would you like to tell the story of how you actually even ended up in the program first? Because you didn't. Yeah, just
Yeah,
share
sure.
that story.
Sure. So I think I ended up in the program in a atypical way. So I think a lot of people that check out Surge's stuff maybe find content or something. But what happened with me is that um, a friend or someone, yeah, that I was talking to said, "Hey, you should check out this software." And I was like, "Okay, cool." Like for agencies, and it's something that Surge has been selling as well, or as part of the program. And so after watching that, there were a couple setup videos that Surge had done just about, this is how you use the software, this is how you can leverage it for your company. And just watching him talk and sort of explain the processes and like what this was doing, I just liked the way that Serge was talking about things. And so I looked him up and then, watched more of his content and then like through leverage content. There's a ton of stuff on YouTube. He's been putting out like tons of content every day for the last couple of years. After that, I was like pretty much sold after watching a couple hours of that content, and then decided to join the program. So I think that just goes to show, like similarly for me too, I started a YouTube channel kind of recently, and after posting, 10 videos or something, I had people coming to, asking to do multiple, four-figure deals just really quickly after posting like 10 videos for my 15 subscribers, which is crazy, right? Like you don't need a massive audience to really get this stuff started. So that was also a huge like turning point for me. So looking and seeing firsthand what Serge and like the rest of the client acquisition team is doing, as well as like implementing it very quickly and actually getting on that stuff. So I wouldn't wait, like after watching this webinar, literally just get on this stuff if you haven't done this before.
Yep. Oh yeah, I did talk about YouTube, a lot of stuff. So Tuesday, for those who missed audience creation call, just go. It's 2 hours long, and we dropped everything. But yeah, no, thanks, Dan. So everyone who's in SaaS, guys, this is someone who went from just struggling for a few years to getting to 20K a month in a month from 4K a month, right? So this is not someone who's already making millions who made more millions. No, it's like this build and release offer thing really works. So, who want to go next? Jiro, if you want to go next and just talk about your experience with this build and release offer, from going from just kind of like just a regular content creative agency to more of like a growth creator model.
Yeah, definitely. Hope you're all good. So, one thing that I've found very beneficial, just being part of GCP, is basically offering more than just content, because everyone it's so easy to find editors, but the thing is, like, you need to offer growth, as Serge has been talking about the past week, and the insights, the way in which he breaks down kind of like from huge companies, such as breaking down Alex Hormozi's model. I'm currently building out a content build and release infrastructure that Serge went through on the call on Monday with the GCP members. And since then, that call, I started posting content on my Instagram, which I haven't been doing consistently. And then I've already been like booking big calls just after like 3 days of posting. And I'm about to close this deal where this wife watched my reel. Turns out her and her husband own quite a lot of companies. And yeah, like, I mean, I told the client acquisition team about it on the channel, and that all came from content. I showed them kind of the model of what Serge kind of went through on Monday, and they don't want to build and release it. They just want to work with me, kind of like on that growth partner model. But I'm still going to use that build and release model for other clients, because I don't want to get 50 clients on a management offer. I just want to work with clients I want to work with, and these people are pretty cool. They got a bunch of businesses I can work on. So yeah, that's a bit of insight.
Love it. And what for you kind of like, do you want to kind of like share how your pricing has been changed from before to like when you started kind of like introducing, hey, we can also help you take care of lead capture, lead nurture, and things like that, or other than just like, hey, let's just edit?
Yeah, so one thing that you guys have helped me out with as well is the messaging. So I'd say the process selling VSL is what made this lead book a call. And the messaging is like, look, if you're over 10K, then you can book a call. So if you're really clear on who you're speaking to, it's going to allow you to attract those people. And like, I didn't realize that power until like this week. So yeah, man, in terms of pricing, they didn't even flinch when I said the price. They probably want me to work on like 10 of their businesses. For now, I'm working on their personal brand and one of their other businesses. And I said, yep, it's 15K for each brand that we work with. And then, yeah, I sent the invoice. They're going to take care of it today. And they're actually flying to meet me in London on Monday. So we're going to shoot some content, chop it up, and yeah, just back to work.
Love it. Did your office get better when you became a growth creator?
I guess so, bro. Yeah, man.
You all in a suit and shit. Okay, I like that. That's why the people are paying you money. Okay, is that it?
That's it, man. That's a life hack. I wear the same clothes as when I was broke.
Yeah, no, but yeah, you've been fly all your life. I like that. But for those who don't know Jirove, I went to London in 2021
It was
after my
beginning of last
last
year. Beginning of last year, bro.
beginning of 2022. Yeah, beginning of 2022. So last year, I had just done my 5-day challenge, and then I went to London, and Jirove, and I'm going to share this with you because it's super important. I was, hanging out with Jirove. I needed someone to come shoot us. I was with Marcus Hustle, and Jirov, you were still like, you were in London, but you were kind of like, I don't know where you were living. And I remember, you told me like, hey, I only have like $300 in the bank account. And I was like, well, you better get to fucking work. Like, what am I like? There's no, you're already at the bottom. So it's like, now is time for your life to change. And this is someone who had gone from course to course. It's not like he had less knowledge around how to start an agency, but it's just that he was just, I don't know, what were you doing? Were you
Has shiny
distracted?
object syndrome.
Yeah, it was crazy,
Yeah, bro.
right? And when this short form content thing started, like, you blew up, right? You've gone crazy ever since. So this is just to share with you guys that, like, for everyone who's like complaining that, oh, I can't see success. No, you're just working on the wrong things completely. It only takes you 6 months and someone to tell you to, like, stop. I don't know how I can say it, but like, stop whatever you're doing. Like, what are you up to? Right? Someone to tell you, they're like, hey, you're doing the wrong thing. Until you become really serious with your own self and be truthful and stop lying to yourself, you will not scale. Scaling a business is about looking at reality and not just being like, oh, I did 20 outreach a day, it didn't work, or give up after. No, it's like, hey, you're going to do whatever it takes for you to become a multiple 6-figure, a multiple 7-figure earner, right? You look at what are the inputs, what do I need to sell for 10, 15 grand, and you go and get the attention to sell it, and then you get someone to close it, then you get the team to fulfill for it, and you don't stop until this whole thing is built out, right? It's not, no one here is special who's built a company, a successful company. The only difference is we just look at what we need to do and we fucking do it. Instead of just being emotional and try to, like, distract ourselves with TikToks and like drinking and maybe smoking. Like, guys, stop the dumb habits. You don't deserve to drink. You don't deserve to smoke. You don't deserve nothing unless you're making fucking millions. Because what are you doing? Are you distracting yourself from reality? Reality can be more blissful than any type of high. What I would love for people to experience is the type of high when you become the person that you promise yourself that you would be. There is this quote, there's this guy who said, and I don't know if people here smoke. I don't necessarily smoke, but he said that smoking 10 blunts couldn't get you higher than me because I became who I set out to become. Right? The best thing ever is becoming who you're meant to be. Nothing, you don't need to consume anything. Stop lying to yourself. Become who you're meant to be. Okay? So yeah, no, thank you. Jirove content. So the reason why I'm coming over these different niches is because becoming a growth creator does not mean you need to sell appointments. It just means you can become a growth creator by starting with content and just looking around everything that the client needs around the content infrastructure and deliver that for a lot of money. SaaS, same thing. Okay. Cool. Who wanna go next? Who wanna go next? Steve?
Yeah.
Let's go. Steve, for you, what I'd like, because we did talk a little bit on, I think Monday or Tuesday. For you, what I'd like to ask you is, so you're someone who's in the local, you're working with contractors, right? what I'd like for you to kind of like talk about is kind of like the impact of selling such an expensive thing and how you position it for contractors who are making 5-10K a month to make sense of signing up for, let's say, your 10K offer, right? Like, how are you able to position that?
So that has been an interesting process of doing it. And so I work with people that before they even go to marketing, they spend tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars. And somebody said, "Oh, it's the wood guy." I feel like I'm getting branded the more I talk. People, your audience knows me. But yeah, no, so so they spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on equipment. And so through the process of working with you, I've learned that with the build and release is literally a tool. And so I had to learn how to speak the language of my audience. And it's been a journey, and it hasn't been the easiest. But
Yeah.
because you have to always speak about your offer in a way that that resonates with your audience. And the process of being, a growth creator is not an easy thing. It's you're constantly finding and and searching, and you need to stretch yourself as an individual. You have to admit when you're comfortable, when you're not comfortable, and just admit that you don't know, like the path to getting to what you want. I even just being around Serge has been like, understanding who he looks to. And like Naval said, success is not without struggle, right? And so to get to what you want, and especially you get paid really well if you solve hard problems, but solving one problem isn't the end all be all. If you can solve your customers' complete problems and anticipate the problems that they are having, then you can get paid really, really, really well.
Yeah. And one of the things for you is because when you came into the program at first, you were selling it as a coaching program, right? And we completely revamped it to not selling a coaching program, because eventually that becomes a commodity, to looking at everything that your clients would need. Instead of coaching them like, hey, you need to run ads, instead of coaching them, you need to sell these products instead of selling the others, we just said, hey, we're going to build the thing that solves the problem for you when you buy this.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, part of it is also too, just like looking that your build and release can include information. It could include some done for you. It could include some done with you. It's just, it's not this one size fits all. And also too, you don't really want to get into the game where you're copying other people's build and release. Like, you truly have to understand your niche, and you truly have to understand what they're capable of and who are the types of clients that would best benefit from it. Is that helpful?
Yeah. 1,000%. I think it's about, for this to pull off this build and release thing, you need to be kind of like sophisticated. And that's the thing we kind of like want, because if we just sell something that's easy to sell, then everybody starts selling it. Then we're back in the same position from the get-go, where now it's a commodity again. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, I was on a call with somebody the other day, and he was just asking questions. And I think confidence and abundance is learning that you don't have to sell everybody, because right now I'm addicted to making sure that I can get success from the people that I work with. And I don't want to just get money from just anybody, because I want to be able to get the results fast. And learning what got the results so I was on a call the other day with a client, and he just had his biggest month, and I got on the phone with him to record it, and he was like, what he said, I decided to go all in because you told me to go all in. And I noticed that because you told me to go all in, I noticed how you went all in. And it was literally around the time when I started working with Surge. And it was like, oh, become obsessed and in love with your business. Like, build the type of business that you want to provide transformational results, not just for your clients, but for your team. So I would say working with Surge has made me fall in love with my business, and I'm having more fun than I ever had, because in this online space, everybody always sells. The money is made because of shiny object.
Yeah.
And it's not real to think that you can do more than one thing at a time. Like, you actually have to focus.
Yeah.
So you think, oh, I can have this and I can have this. I'm like, you're diverting your time, and there's not a lot of time out there, and you need your focus. I mean, within 24 months to go from 20K a month or 10K a month to, a couple million, that takes intense focus.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's, so yeah.
Yeah, no, thank you, man. Thank you. And yeah, like you said, this is not an easy path. Like, for a lot of people who think that, I think maybe one of the biggest advice I can give to everyone here is that, just as much as you desire, be ready for equal amount of pain to come from the path, and expect it. I think for a lot of people who've been sold before, kind of like a lot of people will sell you on the ease. Like, oh, this is going to be easy. Oh, you're going to make 100 grand a month if you start an agency. Or you're going to start 100K a month if you build a coaching business. Yeah, right. Do you guys know how many businesses actually get to $1 million a year? Tiny. Super tiny, right? But all these people online are just giving you guys this image. And because of your desire is so greater than your understanding of what needs to happen, who you need to become to actually deserve that success, you think that buying the thing is going to make you successful. One thing I can promise you that is that if you ever become a client, you will realize that, like, oh shit, I actually need to become fucking better. Better than I thought was even possible. Because when you become so good that others look up to you and they're like, holy shit, wow. That's when the millions start happening. So everyone here, your goal is not to try to buy a service. Like, and this is literally me countering my services, my positioning. Like, the thing you guys should be buying into is and that's why I like to sell expensive stuff, is because when you sell someone something that is expensive, you get them committed to the work, right? When someone just sells you like, oh, this is a $2,000 course, you're going to learn how to do this. Yeah, right. That's not enough commitment for you that's not enough commitment, investment for the level of work that will be required for you to experience the success that you're looking after, right? So if you want to make someone $1 million, you better charge them 100 grand, right? That's how it works.
Can I say one more thing before?
Please.
Is that I've been an entrepreneur for a long time, and I've had lots of success. I am more inspired and challenged and motivated and more humbled working with the whole team that you have assembled and working with you than I have been ever. It's like more than a master's degree, and so for anybody considering jumping on working, just be prepared to be challenged. It's fun.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun, but it's super challenging. So
it's work. It's work. And that's why, like, this, if you want to make millions every year, like, be ready to work. Like, be ready. Like, just essentially, it's almost like I think you know, it's super. Anyway, like I could go on and talk about with the cost of success, but most people will never even understand it. But so like guys, I can only tell you that like the desires that you have are gonna cost you more than you ever thought, right? Cool. So maybe let's go over a few people. Tarun, would you like to talk a little bit? I think it should be here.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, love it, love it.
How's it going?
Hey bro, how you doing?
Doing good. But yeah, do you want me to talk about like what we found
Yeah,
was
please. I know you guys went from having a
yeah,
little bit of struggle going on ads and going crazy. So I would love to share that experience.
yeah, that was actually the main thing we're going to talk about.
Mhm.
So yeah, the number one thing that I think, besides from the community and obviously the team, is the paid ads to get in leads and clients, because we joined in December, January, when you was mainly doing organic, right?
Yeah.
The outreach, the content. We had success with that. We scaled it to 10K, 15. But I feel like paid ads, when Kenneth came on especially, like we haven't seen leads that fast, people just booking in, and the calendar being that, like people booking in that quick. So I feel like paid ads was one of the best when you introduced Kenneth. So yeah.
Yeah. And just share some numbers. Like compare the numbers you guys were getting from outbound before, and then compare it to the volume of throughput in meetings and leads after you went on ads.
Yeah, so with outreach and content, we was maybe booking like 10 calls a month. Some weren't qualified, but after doing paid ads, like we had 7 calls yesterday, and
Wow.
that's a new niche. But we've booked like, I would say, like close to 50 to 100 calls with ads.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's essentially it.
And what was the average cost per call?
Average cost per call was probably across everything 50, probably £70.
Yeah.
Cost per call.
And would you go back to outbound if you know now how to book calls for $50?
Never.
Yeah, and this is the thing I really want to share. You know, like Ritik and Tarun are like brothers. What offers are you guys pushing right now?
Yeah, so right now we're doing appointment setting. Well, getting qualified appointments for the solar companies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sick. And before you guys were in the coaching space, because that's also worked well with ads, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was, but like they were kind of broke, to be honest.
Yeah, guys, if there is one lesson we can learn today, let's not go after coaches and consultants, okay? Like let's just give them a break. Like let's not be another person, okay? Because if you sell to broke people, guess what you become? A broke growth expert. So it's like you got to choose who you sell to, okay? So I'll highly suggest, like I know that at least 10% of everyone here has pushed a coach consultant offer, right? So let's stop that today, right? But anyway, Tarun and Ritik came into the program, coaches and consultants, outbound, struggled a little bit, then got to, okay, so this Juju person, we're going to need to kick him out. Can someone kick out Juju? He's having too much fun in the chat. Okay, but I highly suggest you guys change niches if you guys are in the coaching consultant, because the niche will dictate your scale more than anything you do. Your market, right? Your market. You can go work extremely hard. Wake up every day, learn everything in the Growth Creator, whatever 5 days we just spent. And if you sell it to the wrong people, the impact of the thing you do will stay small. Like I said a few days ago, the quality of your prospects dictate the quality of your service and product. And if you've ever heard Hormozi say it, he said, the quality of the prospect dictates the quality of the product. That's how he said it. Okay, so yeah, I highly suggest you guys switch niches, right? Allow yourselves to change. Don't change because you can't perform. No, so here's the thing. I don't want you to switch because you haven't even booked a call, because not booking calls just shows that you're not competent. Because a lot of people switch niches to compensate for their incompetency. Never switch niche because you're bad. Switch niche because you're good and believe that you can achieve better transformations in other verticals more effortlessly. Okay? So super important. Okay, cool. Oliver, you want to go next? And then just drop a little bit of gems, and then I think then we do Javier, and then we just go and finish and then go over the Q&A stuff. Okay? Cool.
Hello.
Hello, hello.
Serge?
Good. For you, I mean, I'll let you share whatever you want to share, because I also don't want to kind of like lead every context, right?
No, good. Essentially, quick background. I used to be in college studying industrial engineering, and I realized that like my end goal was, never to really become an engineer. I had very strict immigrant parents, so I just kind of followed the traditional path. And because I wasn't really surrounded by sort of people with the same goals, the same mindset, I was in university, so everyone was chasing after that internship or that prestigious position in some company, and that wasn't my goal. So I took like a radical decision. I dropped out when I had a semester left to my degree, so I completed 3 years, and I said, "Fuck that," left. So I had no backup plan. Like this had to work for me. So for me, like putting myself in a situation where I could not afford to fail was what was needed to see the success that I wanted. I spent maybe 2 years kind of like buying the course, trying something, giving up, and sort of jumping around here and there. But it's not until I actually put myself in a situation where I could not afford to fail that my business didn't take off. When I joined Surge's program, I was at about 30K per month. And now last month we made about 75 profit, and that's like in a span of 2 months, a month and a half. So that was pretty cool. And
Crazy.
I think the craziest part for me is not the money, but the fact that to make 30K per month, I had 60 clients that I had to serve, coach. It was one-on-one calls, highly personalized. I wasn't selling just like a video course. And to make 75K per month, we signed 6 clients. And this is with the same structure, the same team members. I did not hire more people. It was literally just me speaking with Serge, him calling me an idiot at first for charging low ticket for what I'm doing, and then sort of shifting my mindset and saying like, hey, if you did this, and you offered it in the marketplace, not only could you 10x your prices, but also lower the amount of work that you do because you have leverage. I had zero leverage. I was taking the calls. I was helping with delivery. I was doing literally everything in my business. So I think that's the biggest impact that I had joining Surge's team is they helped me come up with an offer that is actually wanted in the marketplace that allowed me to remove myself from the business and actually become a business owner versus just a top closer in my company.
Yeah.
And the whole team too, meeting. I got to meet Serge, and luckily I do also live in Montreal, so I got to meet him a couple of times. It was an amazing experience. Casey, Katie, that's another thing. It's one thing to scale a business, but being able to just have someone with you at all times, and whenever you're going through sort of like a roadblock and you're not too sure what to do with your business, instead of just sort of guessing and trying a bunch of things, I can just directly reach out to people who have done it before. I can shoot a message to Casey, say like, hey, my ads are not working. What should I do? Casey would be like, Oliver, just switch this up, try this. I do it, boom, I get the instant results. So it's just being able to have that constant support, never experiencing a struggle on my own, but always having someone that I can kind of fall back to if needed while I'm growing my business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it, man. Love it. Oliver came to the penthouse when I had the wine night here, and he saw the place and was like, man, fuck you.
I did say that to him. Yeah. But it put things into perspective because you go to your gym, you go through school, and you're surrounded by people who, let's face it, most people, they don't have these ambitious goals. They don't want to make $1 million per month or $500,000 per month, whatever. And to put yourself in a situation where you're actually face to face with someone who's making $500,000 per month, it's like, what the fuck? Like, I've never seen that. Like, you see it on YouTube, you see it in the movies, but to actually see someone in real life like that, for me, that was a game changer. And it kind of put things into perspective of like, hey, this guy from Montreal, same situation, basically same age as I am, is making this much money. Why wouldn't I be able to do it? And that was like a good boost for myself to sort of work on my business.
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't realize the importance of just seeing other people just like you doing things that you never even set as goals. It actually just ends up pissing you off because it's like, why would someone else be doing this when they're not any special? They're not necessarily, I mean, smarter is, they're not necessarily, the IQ is not necessarily higher. It's just a matter of understanding different levers to pull. And a lot of people are actually have the knowledge they need to scale. Like 90% of everyone on this call knows how to do Facebook ad, knows how to do outreach, knows how to create offers. If you didn't, then you can just go through. If you've been on this days, on these 5-day challenge, you probably acquired the knowledge you need to scale. But the thing is, you still don't have that belief that is going to take you from being like, okay, I'm a smart person, to, hey, I'm actually going to do it. I'm going to pull it off, right? So guys, sometimes you just need to look at someone who's doing the thing you're doing and be like, hey, okay, there's actually nothing that I'm missing right now. Let's get after it. Okay, cool. Javier, you want to kind of like share your experience and then we kind of like end this session? Go ahead. I just unmuted.
Okay, amazing. How are you doing, Serge?
Good. How about you?
Yeah, I'm doing awesome. So yeah, guys, so just a quick context about me. So I'm from Mexico. I'm working in Latin American market. I actually met Serge a couple of years ago. I was a brokey, as Serge says. And yeah, to be honest, I joined Serge program when he was just starting out at $500,000. I make the last 2K I invest in his program. And I end up with 10 cents of my bank account. So with the with the Serge help, a couple of years ago, I was able to scale to 10K per month just in 45 days of making that investment. And last year, I started like a consulting company named ScaleHighTicket.io, especially here in the Spanish market, helping agency owners have that same transformation that I had. And I have been doing well, but to be honest, I joined again GCP with another mindset, another kind of things that I was looking for to gain. And the main insights that I got when I joined GCP, just first off, having like a good systems in place, having like a good trackers. I have been doing that in the past, tracking everything because data is going to allow you to scale. Second thing is obviously to use leverage in all of your acquisition systems, because I come from a background that I was sending 300 messages per day alone. I was not working with a team. I wasn't doing everything. But now, obviously, I have a team of setters that are booking 4-10 calls per day. And also the last thing, I think like just integrating paid ads on my acquisition, right? So I was working with Casey on that stuff. 2 weeks ago, I started investing in some paid ads. I invest $300. And just in 3 weeks, I made 22K on revenue. So was quite crazy just integrating paid ads on the strategy. So that's crazy. Like that's the main things that
I didn't know about the transformation from your ads. I didn't know about your wins. That's crazy. In the Latin market, you pulled off 20K?
Yeah, yep.
Wow. And for those who don't understand, the Latin market is completely different from just the American market, because to make 20K in that niche, you probably need to have insane leverage, because not a lot of people have they don't have a lot of cash on hand, right? $1,000 is a lot of money for them. Okay. So yeah. And would you say that, I guess right now on your offer, it's still kind of like a build and release offer, right? You're muted. Wait 1 second. Okay, wait, unmute. I think you can unmute yourself.
Okay, yeah. So right now I have like a build and release offer, and to be honest, that has been game changer for me, because most of people, when I start the agency, obviously most of people say, hey, just offer Facebook ads, but you start in a competitive with every person. Also, when I started this coaching business, I was doing everything that everyone was doing, just offering like a course, offering some kind of sessions, one-on-one sessions, group calls. But to be honest, that's where you enter on a competition that when everyone's compared with, oh, this guy's offering the same as you, he have more results, or he's doing like for less price than you, so I'm gonna go with him. But right now with the build and release offer, taking care of all of the things that your clients need to have in order to achieve their main goal, is actually quite better to differentiate myself to the also big competitors here in the Spanish market. So when I start integrating that, I go from charging 2K for my program to actually charging 10K for my program.
Wow.
And yeah, to be honest, I have been doing some research on big programs in the Latin American market, and there is a huge differentiation of what they're offering, just because I really put in the place and create a good offer, taking care and taking place of all the mechanisms that my clients need to have in order to get them the results. But yeah, what's quite game changer, just integrating that type of offers.
Love it, love it, love it. Yeah, I think that's enough. That's enough wins. I think we can just move on to the thing. But Latin market, 300 spent on ads, 22K in 3 weeks. Insane. Okay, so that's just like crazy. Yeah, guys, so again, everyone that I've kind of like walked through, you know, from Oliver from 30K a month to 77K a month, from, you know, Steve in the contractor niche to, you know, doing 50K a month, from Jirov pushing content offers to, you know, build and release offers, 15K up front, to, you know, every person, Dan in the SaaS space, 15K offers. I think they're increasing their prices today. One thing that you guys can see is that everyone here started selling something different, selling to a different market, something more complex, charged more money, only to work less. Okay? There's a trend here. No one here said, I worked 20 times more than I was doing before to make more money, because that's not the goal. The goal is, how can you acquire more leverage in the things you're already doing, but make infinitely more money? Work less, make more. Work less, make more. The billionaires are not working any harder than us, guys. And until you realize that, like, it's not about working hard, it's about working smart and introducing leverage, you will never experience the growth that you actually deserve. So let me just kind of like finish this presentation, and then we go to the VIP questions, and then we can get to solving everything. All right, cool, perfect. So few questions for you guys. Was our time over the last 5 days enjoyable thus far for everyone who joined? Put it in the chat. Drop it in the chat. Go crazy in the chat. Serge could have chosen to speak any language, but he woke up speaking facts. That's funny. Guys, please drop it in the chat. Was it valuable today, over the last few days? Perfect. And who found it valuable? Who think they can kind of like take everything that we talked about over the last 5 days? For those who weren't there 5 days, guys, figure out a way to consume the whole thing and then go back to day 5. And feel comfortable making an extra 50K a month to 100K a month in the next 12 months by becoming a growth creator. Right? I guess, you know, from what I shared this week, it's probably easy for you guys to scale to 50K a month or 100K a month, other than just telling you, oh, become a Facebook ad agency or become a short form content agency and sell 2K a month services. You will get to 100K a month by the time you're like 80 years old, right? And then, is it fair to say that using these insights, it is unreasonable for you not to have a significant amount of advantage over your competition? Like, over this week, we've probably had a few hundred people join. The few hundred people of you guys who've joined, do you guys feel like you guys have an edge over most people? Let me know in the chat. Beautiful, beautiful. Let's go, let's go. Okay, so I have absolute confidence that you could take everything we've covered here today and on your own go out and put it into action and get results that you previously thought were impossible, right? I'm certain that just with the information we've covered on the 5-day challenge and the webinar, left on your own with your own resources, time and effort, you can make a go at this in a way most people will never be able to, right? Especially if you've watched the whole 5 days. I think you probably have 10 times more probability of achieving scale compared to those who didn't, right? And if that were your only option, it would be a worthy ideal to pursue, right? But what if there was another option? An option that allows us to work together, to work at it together, a chance to go deeper than we can in, 1 measly hour, 2, 5 days of working, and, connecting over the last 5 days. What if clientacquisition.io played an active role in your results, took responsibility in your success, and had an obligation to your outcome? How would that make things different? Do you think that with all the resources at my disposal to stack the deck in your favor to make success all but inevitable, right? Do you think that if I allocated my time, my team's time, and the capital into helping you not only understand what you need, but instead built out everything you needed for you, would that make it unreasonable for you not to scale your companies? I want to know in the chat. Let me know if that would make it easier for you guys. Just drop a yes in the chat. Right? Love it. If I had such an option for you guys, who would love to hear more about it and what it could do for you? Let me know in the chat. Who would love to hear about the offer? Because I need to get some yes, because if I don't get some yes, then maybe you guys don't want it, right? Okay, cool. So check this out. That's why it's with great pleasure that I want to introduce you guys the following. The Growth Creator Program, okay? There is this famous quotation attributed to Archimedes, which says, "Give me a lever long enough and a fulcrum on which to place it, and I shall move the world." The Growth Creator Program is that lever and that fulcrum for everyone who was here today. Over the last 5 days, I've talked about one thing and one thing only: leverage, right? I showed you guys how to get leverage in your offer. I showed you guys how to get leverage in your audience. I showed you how to get leverage in your acquisition. I showed you guys how to get leverage in your fulfillment, right? But what if there was something that could take care of all those 4 levers at once for you, right? And for me, in my opinion, the Growth Creator Program is that lever. It's leverage, right? And I'd love to give you guys opportunity to participate in the Growth Creator Program. And let me give you guys the value that you get, okay? So instead of just knowing what you need to move the world and going at it alone, let me and my team build the infrastructure you guys need to move the world. Join our environment, our community of growth creators, and feel the urgency from seeing other people's win. One of the beautiful things that a lot of people who aren't part of communities of people actually building successful companies is that you guys are left on your own. You make 5K a month, you're like, oh yeah, I'm making more than most people. You make 20K a month, you're like, yeah, I'm making more than most people, right? So it's super easy for you to feel comfortable in your own success, which is, to be honest, nothing impressive, right? When you join us, and let's say you join us on this retreat with founders making 50K, 100K a month, we're spending $10,000 on villas. Your 20K a month becomes, how can I say this? It becomes, you shouldn't even talk about how much money you make, right? You need to surround yourself with people who uplift you and motivate you to work harder, right? So that's one. Growth Creator Program, it gives you the community, and this is the most important part, okay? The next thing is, let me and my team build your 10 to 15K plus build and release offer I shared with you earlier. Let me and my team come up with the mechanisms you need to include in your offer. Let me and my team come up with the most profitable market segment of the, because one of the things we do, I'm going to show you guys real quick. I'm going to use one of the sheets that use for Dan. One of the things we do when clients come work with us is we don't just give you like, oh, here's the offer, but we also help you pick the most profitable market segment based on who you can get the biggest ROI for, who can effortlessly afford your thing, who can you almost guarantee success for, and who we can easily find, okay? So this is something that we need to work on because like I said, it doesn't matter your offer, how good your offer is, if you're selling something that is, if you're selling something to the wrong people, you're still going to be stuck. Okay. And we will happily craft your conditional guarantee so you can have a 30-40% closing rate. Okay. And then the next thing we will do is let me and my team design your audience creation game plan, as well as your content roadmap. One of the things that a lot of you guys have seen is that the people who are killing it have an audience. We have Mario Gonzalez, who quit his job last year, and now he's hitting like 60K a month. And not necessarily because he's a better growth creator. I mean, he just quit his job last year. It's not that he's the best growth expert. There are people who've generated millions and millions of dollars on ads, but who still can't make 60K per month, right? There are smarter people, more experienced people who will never make 60K per month, not because they don't understand how to grow, how to get leads, or how to sell stuff online, but because they don't have an audience, right? And here, there's one of the things that Jirov mentioned, which is like the process selling VSL. Here you have Alex Pivinsky, who closed, I think it was like a 17K deal, 5.5K a month plus $100 per call, and came from the process selling VSL with IG outreach. He prospected, sent one asset, and the person booked a call. He paid his VA like $300 a month and got him a client that's worth like 15K plus performance. Okay. So one of the things we want to do for each person who joins the Growth Creator program is we'll get you to help you to build your brand on YouTube, help you with your Facebook group, help you with your content schedule, help you design a process selling VSL. Okay. The next thing is let me and my team build and launch your whole client acquisition infrastructure, right? Let us lead your paid ads, the creatives, the offer you need on ads, the copy, the interest, the funnel. Okay. And all of it is based on what we've seen work in tens of niches, right? Real estate, solar, roofing, recruiting, real estate, mortgage, med spa, home remodeling, coaches, consultants, closers, agency owners. It doesn't matter who you sell to. We have data around what works. Okay. Let us build your nurturing systems, right? We'll build out your whole Go High level system so that every single prospect who goes through your funnel never forgets about you, right? The money is in the follow-up and the nurturing. Just because someone doesn't buy from you the first time they get on a call does not mean that they will not buy. But if you do not make it inevitable for them to not forget about you, I promise you, you will be losing a lot of money. So we'll build out the whole nurturing system for you. And then let us build out your appointment setting team and workflow and systems, right? We will help you build your growth team and appointment setting team. We will craft your outbound messaging and your appointment setting workflow, right? We will help you set up all these systems. Yesterday, I think Safe asked, hey, do we get these systems? Yes. You guys will have everything. All the workflows you guys don't have to figure all these systems out yourselves. You get access to all these systems, all the trackers. And secondly, you'll also access our pool of trained setters. So what we do is every month we train hundreds and hundreds of VAs on different acquisition channels. So let's say, as an example, if you're someone who helps people book appointments, but you need talent, you're going to be able to access this pool as long as you're a growth creator, part of our community. So essentially, you get to leverage a multiple seven-figure infrastructure because you're part of our community, and you can use this to help your clients or to help yourself scale, right? The next thing is sales systems. You guys are going to be able to access our sales tracker, right? That we use for, I mean, actually, I think I'll just open it and then you guys can just check it out. So we build out this sales tracker, which we give to every client. You track all your leads in one place. You track all the calls coming in, whether that be organic from ads, the discovery call process, the qualified show, the no-show, no closing rate, end of day KPIs show up here for your team. So that means that you kind of like have a base where you can track everything around your business. You also track your business KPIs, okay? Ad spend, new leads, cost per lead, cost per booked call, closing rate, qualified rate, commissions, cash collected, cash per taken call, new outreach. So everything, every month you get a good overview of everything in one single place. If you do not have this data, let me tell you one thing, you will not scale your business. I promise you that. I promise you this. If you think that just because you can book a call, you can scale a company, then you're confused, okay? The only thing we work off of is data. You need to have everything: revenue, receivables, expenses, Q1 revenue, Q2 revenue, Q3, Q4, and annual revenue, and then everything. Okay. Perfect. So, and then the next thing we want to do for every client is we will gladly design your fulfillment flow and infrastructure for your build and release infrastructure, or for your build and release offer, right? And then I did share this. Let me show you guys this, because we just did this for actually one of our partners in the 100. He just came to us after selling a he's built multiple 8-figure brands, or he's helping them scale, and he came to us because he wanted to build a build and release offer that he can scale to, like, he want to scale essentially his things to millions of dollars instead of just being like an agency expert for brands. And one of the things we helped him do is come up with a build and release offer for brands that are wanting to go from 30K a month to 8 figures. We came up with the offer, creative UGC infrastructure, operating system infrastructure, setting up MRR, omni-channel buying SOPs and systems, right? And then the team went ahead and designed the whole workflow, right? I'm not going to go over this, but this is the stuff that people pay us thousands and thousands of dollars to do. Okay, cool. So let's go over the next thing. We'll probably need to change the link on that form, by the way. So Jill, if you can get Haitham to change the link on that Lucy chart I just shared, because I know you guys, I know you guys love the free stuff. You guys are gonna jump on every link I share. So check this out. And then one of the other biggest bottleneck you guys have is that you guys will have a struggle on knowing how to structure your team. So for us, what we will do is we will come in and help you design your operation structure. We'll design the team, the labor you need. We'll decide on the smart labor. We'll decide how on the decision makers you need. Okay. And then we'll come up with the KPIs for each role. So if right now you're like, okay, but I need this build and release offer in this SaaS niche and this solar niche and all these niches, but I need to know how to fulfill. Well, we'll come up with a list of talent you need to hire and help you hire them. Okay. So essentially, we come up with your offer. We build out the fulfillment of the offer. We build out your client acquisition. We take care of lead gen. We take care of your appointment setting systems, your nurturing systems. We take care of all this backend systems. Then we take care, you access our pool of trained people. Then you access our sales systems. Then you access our fulfillment infrastructure, right? So essentially, we take care of everything. And then, by the way, when I say paid ads, this is a done for you setup process. This is not like, I'm not going to say, oh, watch information and learn how to do this. No, I don't really care, right? I'm going to show you guys some of the timelines that we do. But so we are also going to design your team. And then what we also want to do is let us consult you and support you for 6 months. On every single problem that comes up, we'll face it together. The offer is not working. You're not closing. Appointment setting is an issue. You're not hungry. You don't have urgency. You're not having fun. You don't have a bigger vision. You don't have the right people to build with. Hey, don't worry. We got you, right? And everything you need solved, me, client acquisition.io's team, and the community will help you solve it. Okay. So everyone, as I showed you guys the other day, is the Growth Creator program is not like I don't want you guys to think that this is a coaching program, because it's so not a coaching program. It's almost like you guys are acquiring a team for a fraction of the price. So essentially, you're getting client acquisition.io team as your fractional team. You get access to growth consultants, you get access to sales consultants, you get access to recruiting team, you get access to someone to support you on anything you need, and you also get access to me, of course. Okay. You also get access to weekly calls. Every week we're doing growth team building calls, Monday Q&A with me, sales training, general consult, 7-figure systems and operations call with Katie. So she's the COO. You guys are going to get access to a 7-figure ads lab call with Casey, who's our CMO. You guys are going to get access to the 7-figure and 8-figure acquisition funnel. So every Friday we do acquisition funnel breakdowns for our clients, just generally because we believe in showing people what others are doing well. So it can also almost be like a insight moment for our clients to learn how to serve their clients better, right? So over the last few days, or few weeks, we broke down Jeremy Miner's funnel, who's making, I think they're doing $4 million a month. So we broke down their whole funnel. We broke down what is Casey? What's the name? The guy in real estate?
Yeah, Pace Morby.
Pace Morby.
Yep.
Also doing what? 3.2 mil, 3 mil a month.
Yeah, I think they're doing more than 4 million at this point. Eddie Malouf and Ashton Shanks are running his ads.
Yeah, so Eddie Malouf, they're running their thing. So we broke down their acquisition. We broke down a lot of the different things like freemium models. So when you guys join GCP, you guys are almost like, yes, you're getting access to scale your business, but in order for you to scale your business, you actually need to become smarter. You need to get so much more data than you ever thought. Because guys, if you have average information in your brain, you're not going to get outsized returns. Just like as an investor, he who makes the most amount of money is just more leveraged because of the insights they have, right? What do they say? Insider trading? What is that? Casey, you want to define that? What insider trading is?
Don't ask me. I'll ask
Right?
someone else.
But like, if we look at the, insider trading is just generally you're getting insights from someone on the inside, I think, right? So what you guys need to do, you guys need to spend as much money and as much time acquiring insights, right, that others do not have. Because as an example, if everyone on this 5-day challenge is getting the same information and 300 people go and push the same build and release offer, push the same services, then the build and release offer will eventually become a commodity. So you essentially need to be spending a lot of time acquiring insights that others do not have access to. And every Friday, we're trying to be 1 step ahead of most people, because that's the only way we can make more than them. Okay, cool. So now, what is the cost? Well, there are 2 costs to access this infrastructure and service. Okay, there is what I pay for it, and there is what clients pay for it. Check this out. Last month, or in October or September, my cost, total of goods sold, that's before any level of like sales, whatever stuff, marketing and everything. Just the team every month is $132,000 a month. Okay. If you were to try to build what I've built, what we deliver for clients, for yourself, you would have to spend this month $137,000 out of your pocket. You do it over 12 months, you need a 1.5 mil, over 1.5 mil over the next 12 months to spend. Okay. This is what I pay for every month to be able to deliver the value we deliver every month. Okay. Now, our clients in the program pay $20,000 to access this infrastructure, right? That's almost 1/100th of the true cost of what they receive if you put in actual marketing costs and everything else, right? And it's genuinely why we're probably the only company selling at this price point, right? Everybody else out there is just selling like $7,000, $8,000 programs because they just want to sell you information and they want to hype you up. But for us, I have a pretty high cost of fulfillment because we're actually doing a lot of work for our clients, right? If I was running a coaching business, I'll probably have $20,000 in cost of goods sold, and I would be making 80%, 90% margins. But in this case, I'm not, right? Because I don't want to compete on being the person who's working the least and delivering the least. I want to actually compete on having such a high cost of fulfillment that most people will be afraid to have this type of payroll. Okay, so we deliver 100 times what you pay for. Who wouldn't want 1/100th worth of value on what they pay? Who here would be happy to pay $20K to get access to $1.5 million worth of infrastructure? Right? Who here would be down to spend $20K to get $2 million in value? Let me know in the chat. Right? Perfect. Cool. So here is what you guys get. As promised in the beginning of the challenge, I said I would offer something special for everyone who joined the challenge. So here's my gift to you. For the next 48 hours until Monday, so today we're Friday, until Monday, I'm offering the following offer. For the first 5 people who join, who want to work with clientacquisition.io, transitioning to this build and release model and to becoming a growth creator and scale past 50K to 100K per month in 90 days, So here's the new thing. I personally believe that for every client who's joined the Growth Creator program, the timeline is going to shift from, even though the program is 6 months long, the actual goal for us is to get you to 50K, to add an extra 50K a month in 90 days. Why can we do this? Because all we need to do is get you a 10K offer, 10 to 15K offer on the front end. We get you leads. So we run the ads for you. We'll set up the ads for you, get you the leads and appointments. We get you 10 calls. We get you 30 calls a month, right? You close 1 to 3 clients a month, new clients, and you add an extra, 10 to 30K a month, right? And the goal is that by after month 3, you're able to sustain acquiring 5 new clients per month, right? In this case, Oliver did 77K from just 6 clients a month, right? How easy is it to get 6 closed deals if you're spending $10 on ads to get leads and let's say $50 to $100 per appointment? It's relatively pretty doable, right? So that's why for me, I believe we can get someone to 50K a month in 90 days, okay? So the price of the program right now for everyone who's on the challenge is 15K plus 15% of what's above the baseline of revenue of the previous month. Here is the kicker. We're not selling a coaching program, therefore we're not going to charge you once. You get rich, we get rich. Okay? Completely different. You're not buying information. You're not buying a portal on Core. What you're getting access to is $140,000 a month worth of team. We scale your offer, whatever niche you're in, solar, e-com, SaaS. You make 50K a month. Let's say you come in at 30K a month, okay? This is how it will work. The last previous months, you've been making 30K a month. What we're going to do is going to say, hey, whatever is above this baseline, we want 15% of whatever is above 30K a month over the next few months as you scale, right? Because we realize like it's impossible for us to serve 300 people if we're giving them access to our team, right? So we also want, as we help our clients grow, the business also needs to grow. So now every client who joins the program is going to be 15K plus 15% of whatever is above the baseline of what you've been making over the last few months. And in my opinion, it's a pretty steal because for 15%, you're getting access to $150,000 worth of talent. So I would expect you to be fine with giving us 15%. Does that sound fair, by the way, guys? Getting 15% of whatever we add over the next 6 months? Let me know in the chat. Is it a fair deal? Cool. Perfect. So for those who don't have 15K upfront, right? We have even a crazier deal. For the first 5 people only though, because I know that we probably would get like 50 people signing up at this one. So we're only going to cap it. You can get started with just 5K down. Does that make sense? So to get started in the Growth Creator program for the first 5 people who want this offer, you can get started with just 5K down. Okay. These payment options. Now, is this offer good? Like, does it make sense for you guys? Perfect. Okay. So now these payment options may seem attractive for a lot of y'all, but I actually got more value for you guys. As you guys know, if you guys have ever been on any of my webbies, you know the bonuses is where the money is made. Okay. So let's go look at the bonuses. Before I explain the sign up process, let me go over the bonuses. So, and check this bonus out, guys. Okay. And I want you guys to comment if you guys like it. I have $50,000 on PayPal, right? I think right now I have probably like 65. But to showcase that we believe in your company and the Growth Creator Scaling Protocol, if you qualify for GCP, we will spend money on ads before you spend your own. I'm gonna allocate $50,000 so that I can show you that, hey, we're gonna build the offer. We're gonna prove the acquisition funnel by spending our own money for you. And then once we've gotten you the leads, once we've gotten you a few appointments, then you start spending your own money. That's how confident I am in this offer. I'm willing to put my money where my mouth is. I don't just want to be like, oh, just join my program and hopefully you'll get lucky. No, I'll put my money where my mouth is. I'll put 50 G's to invest in our clients who join, because now we're incentivized in their growth. So now I'm comfortable with putting my money where my mouth is, because I get you richer, you become richer, I become richer, right? So does this, who wants this deal? Anybody wants this deal? Cool. Perfect. Cool. And then the next value is, again, like I said, you guys are almost getting a fractional team. So you guys will get an ad specialist to analyze your data weekly and tell you what tweaks to make on your acquisition. You guys will get access to a 100K a month acquisition, like the done for you funnel, like the value funnel that I showed you guys. You guys will get access to it. We're currently spending 3K a month on our funnel builders, so you get to avoid this cost. You guys are going to get access to sales experts to review your sales calls. If you're still taking sales calls, if we help you, if you have a closer, we will review your call to see why you're not making money. You guys will get access to a systems integrator team to guide you in setting up any automations or troubleshoot anything. This is 5K a month, right? You will get access to a recruiting department. If you need talent, we've built systems to help you hire, right? For those who don't know, for Felix to go from $2 in his bank account to 25K, partner up with Jolie, they actually took 80 calls and didn't close a single deal, right? Until we said, hey, stop doing this crazy stuff. Put in a closer, and then they went from 85 calls to no money closed, to 25 calls taken by the closer, to 5 deals closed, and 20K cash collected in 11 days. So for us, what we want to do when you've joined GCP, if you're still taking your own sales calls, we remove you from taking calls, right? By giving you the systems to allow you to hire talent. And we're also going to help you promote and get you the talent from our own audience, right? There's so many closers out there who have done more than you can, right? For me, I don't want you guys wasting time trying to learn how to become a closer, because what the end goal is becoming an owner, not becoming a closer. If you want to become a closer, go close. Like, you just become a closer. You don't need to become a closer. Like, that's not the goal here. Okay. So anyway, the next thing is operations specialist, and to consult and design your fulfillment infrastructure. You guys will be getting access to, in my opinion, this is probably the most valuable thing, right? Accessing someone who can actually help you design your operations, okay? And if needed, we have our own operations team where you can buy systems or more build outs for your client. So as an example, you hire a client, you acquire clients, and then they're like, hey, we need this infrastructure. Well, you don't actually need to go hire your own team. You can just work with us. If it's an external thing, then you may need to pay for it. But right now, you're going to get access to consulting on systems. You're going to get access to infrastructures. You're going to get access to plug and play systems and automation that you can use for your own clients. You're going to get access to our 7-figure fulfillment snapshot. You're going to get access to leverage our frameworks to fulfill for your niche, which is something that Dan mentioned at the beginning. He said that he essentially looks at what we're doing and uses it for his own clients in the SaaS niche. And that's the beautiful thing I want you guys to understand. What we do internally is what you can use to help any niche that you work with, okay? And then the next thing is you'll get access to a growth consultant to review your overall performance, company performance on a weekly basis. Value, $8,000 a month. You will get weekly check-ins, okay? Access to the tools and sheets we use to track data and team performance. And then, of course, you have your own channel, one-on-one, where every day we're just kind of like discussing and dealing with daily problems, right? But on a weekly basis, you get a check-in. And then most important of all, in my opinion, for the next 5, for this is going to just be for one person, by the way. But I would love to give access to give a free ticket for the next Verse to Growth creator to join the program. The value is 10K. That's how much we charge. You guys are going to be able to essentially join us on the retreat, the next one that we're going to do. The last one, we did it here in Marbella We went twice in the last 2 years. Had rented a bunch of villas. Clients had their own villas. We were staying in this one. And yeah, I'd love for you guys to join us and just come have an amazing summer with us. And you know, just come live it up. Come network, come see what how you can live if you actually end up betting on yourself. Okay? This is over $60,000 in bonuses, okay? But a lot of people would be like, "Oh, okay, but I'm still, you know, 15 grand is still a lot of money." Okay, cool. Well, perfect. Let's look at the guarantee then. So we have a growth creator guarantee, which is the following. We'll help you build it will not help you, but we'll build your offer, the whole acquisition infrastructure, help you implement it, help you manage it. Our goal is to be able to scale past 50K a month in 90 days. If after the length of the program, 6 months, you haven't closed enough deals value that equal to what you paid to sign up in the program, you can ask your money back. Okay? In other words, if you follow and use our 100K to a 500K a month offer structure, our client acquisition, our fulfillment infrastructure, and you don't close enough deals to make 15K or more over 6 months, which would be pretty stupid. It would be pretty crazy. You can have your money back. Technically, you don't have anything to lose, only upside by joining the Growth Creator program. We're confident enough in our systems that we can offer you this guarantee, right? And to be honest, with a build and release offer, all you need is just one client to make an ROI in your investment. If you maybe at most 2 clients, we have 6 months to get you 2 clients for you to be profitable on your investment, right? Which I think shouldn't be hard, okay? The sign-up process is pretty simple. We have a few things. Approach number 1, for those who really want this offer and want to reserve their spot, before I give you guys a link to book a call, because you will actually need to be qualified for this. Just because you have money does not mean you're going to be able to join, okay? This is something I want to make clear. Just because this offer is good and a no-brainer does not mean that you don't need to be qualified for the offer. I made this offer for it to be a no-brainer, but just because I'm taking on risk by making this offer super good, I'm taking cost on myself. So what I need to do is I also need the person getting this offer to be the least risky person to work with, because I'm putting my time on the line. I'm putting my money on the line. So if you think you're going to get this offer, if you're not qualified, then it's also not going to be good. Okay. But for those who want to have access to this and reserve their spot, we have a $500 deposit. So all you have to do if you want this offer, just put the deposit down. It's $500, so nothing crazy. And I'm just going to put it in the chat. Right. Cool. So I put it in the chat. If you guys want to reserve your spot of the 5 days, so for only 5 people, if we like get more than 5 people, then we will actually refund the deposit if we exceed the 5. So this is what you need to do. So that means that whoever made the deposit essentially gets their slot reserved, right? Because there was no other way for us to do it. I think just the deposit makes sense. And the actual process for you to be able to join the program is going to be the following. We've blocked out the next 48 hours. So I think today, tomorrow, and Sunday, we've blocked out times on our calendars to onboard the next 5 people. I'm sure we're probably going to get the 5 people by the end of the day, probably in the next few hours. But what I want you guys to do is use this link to book a call. Gilles, if you can put this link to book a call, you guys are going to be able to reserve a spot. So right now we only have 2 spots left, the one in 15 minutes and the one at 4 p.m., an hour later. And then you also have tomorrow, 6 a.m., 9 a.m., because is Joseph on the call?
I don't think so.
Yes.
Yeah, yes.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we're going to need to, we're probably going to need an application thing for the team. Okay. I need because we're probably going to need to manually book people in. So for those who can't book it on okay, cool, he's opening up more slots. Okay, good. But check this out. So let's finish this up. So for those who want to reserve their spot, you guys have the $500 deposit. It's in the chat, or you can book a call. My team is going to open up more. So this offer and the bonuses available are only until Monday. And again, we have capacity to onboard 5 new members. And guys, this is what I wanted to say. So this is how we do the build and release. It's about speed. Day 2, you have your offer after joining our Growth Creator program. Day 10, we have launched your ads. We're starting to get you leads, appointments. Day 15, we want to have you have made your return on investment. This is literally it. Day 2, day 10, day 15, we need you to have made your money back, okay? And for those who missed the intro to the offer, essentially what I said is we're going to come in, build out the whole infrastructure for you. We build out, you get access to the community, you get access to the build and release offer. We'll build it for you. We'll build out your game plan for audience creation, YouTube creation, Facebook group creation, content, process selling VSL. We'll set up your ads based on the data we have. We'll build out your systems for nurturing. We'll build out your appointment setting team and your workflow and systems. We'll come in, give you access to all the trackers we have, for tracking performance and data. We'll build out your fulfillment flow for this new offer. And then we will build out your team infrastructure. We'll kind of like design it so you know who to hire and who to not hire. Or sometimes you may not even need to hire more people because you have access to us. And then for 6 months, we support you, have access one-on-one to my team. And then you have access to over 8 calls a week. And then again, I just showed you guys, my total of goods sold, the team cost me $130K a month. So that's almost over 1.5 mil. You guys get access to the team. And the program is normally 20K. But today we're doing it at 15K plus 15% above the baseline because we're almost like a partnership level type of service. So the Growth Creator program, because we expect to make a lot of people a lot of money. So we actually have decided that we're also going to get incentivized on the growth. And so the program is 15K plus 15% of whatever is above the baseline of the revenue you've been making. And you only need 5K to get started for the first 5 people who make a decision to work with us. And the bonuses, the main bonus is really here, which is I'm allocating for the next few clients to join this 50K budget that I have on PayPal to kind of like test the acquisition funnel that we built for you guys before you guys have to spend any more any other dime on your own acquisition, right? Because traditionally, a lot of companies who are selling you growth services, they're like, hey, pay me so I can show you how to scale. And then when you're about to scale, they ask you to invest even more stuff. Now, it is true that you guys need money to scale, but wouldn't it be more of a no-brainer if the company actually showed you proof before they asked you to spend any more money? So 50K is going to be allocated to the clients who join, right? So we're actually going to send you money to invest in ads, and we're going to set up the ads for you so you guys don't have to worry. You guys will have access to an ad specialist to analyze your data weekly, 100K a month done for you. So we're going to give you access to our value funnel, going to access your sales experts, systems integrators, 5K a month, recruiting department if you need to recruit people, operations specialists worth 15K a month. We're going to consult you in systems and infrastructure, plug and play systems, 7-figure fulfillment snapshot, leverage our frameworks to fulfill for your own niche. So if you feel like, hey, there are stuff that you don't know, then you can use our own fulfillment infrastructure to scale. And then you'll get access to a growth consultant who does weekly check-ins with you to kind of like look at the overall performance of your company. And then daily support, as well as access to all the tools. And most important, you get to join us. No, this is going to be only available for one person. You're going to be able to join us on the next retreat without having to pay the 10K to join, right? So yeah, over 60K in bonuses. The guarantee is if in 6 months you haven't made your whatever you paid us back, we'll just give you your money back, because there's no point in you paying us if you're not going to get results, right? And with the build and release offer, it's super no-brainer because you only need 1 client or 2 to make your investment back in the next 6 months. But our goal is to get you to 50K a month in 90 days, or at least add an extra 30 to 50K in 90 days, especially if you already have some level of success That's going to be super easy. You have $500 deposit if you want to reserve your spot. And we've blocked out calendars for the next 48 hours for those who want it. Okay. So these bonuses are only available for the first 5 people, just generally because it's not scalable and we still want to scale. And yeah, that's pretty much it. It means a lot. Hopefully everyone will value what we talked about today in the past 5 days. Again, we have the offer going till Monday. If you guys are interested in working, let's get to work. I appreciate you all. Thank you so much. For those who bought the NBL, this is going to be released in the next few by Monday. And appreciate you guys so much. And let's make our dreams come true. Love y'all. Bye-bye.